right. So till here, what did we do, sir? Till now, what did we do? We just understood what is fraud, right? What is our responsibility? What is our overall responsibility? And what is our fraud responsibility? We just started with SA 240, and in this we did a lot of conceptual discussion in this. Although content, you may not see that we have done a lot of a lot of pages we have done. So no, content wise we have done a lot of discussion with that. Clear? Fraud generally is intentional act, right? Now here, just remember this: fraud is what? Fraud is an intentional act. Clear? Why do we do it? To gain unjust or illegal advantage. How? By using deceptive methods. And why? And who does it? It could be TCWG, it could be management, it could be employees, or it could be anyone. That could a third party also. What are the types of fraud we have seen? Fraud, FFR, fraudulent financial reporting, and misappropriation of assets. Fraudulent financial reporting is nothing but intentional misstatement. Clear? It does not mean that these were mistakes. These were mistakes unintentionally. Fraud is always and always and always intentional. What are the ways to deceive through this particular method? Number one, manipulation, falsification, and alteration of what? Accounting records or supporting documents. Misrepresentation or intentional omission, right? From financial statements on events, transactions, or significant information. Sign in as significant information. Okay, I'll write it for your understanding purpose. Significant information. Okay. Then intentional misapplication of accounting principles with respect to amount classification and presentation and disclosure. Clear? Until there we are done. What are the, especially management overriding of control, we are done, right? Fictitious journal entry, recording fictitious journal entry, adjusting the assumptions, omitting, advancing, delaying the recognition, concealing or not disclosing the facts, engaging in complex transaction, and altering records and terms, right? Let's start with another important question. We got to know how FFR is done, that is fraudulent financial reporting is done. How misappropriation of assets will be done, sir? Misappropriation of assets is very easy. It is nothing but it involves theft of an entity's asset and is often perpetrated by whom? Employees only in relatively smaller and immaterial amounts. See, when you steal assets, it could be cash, it could be materialistic assets, like for example phones, right, PCs, right, hard drives, anything. All these things, when you're stealing also, even in the smallest amount, if you're stealing, that will be considered as a theft only, and therefore it comes as misappropriation of asset. Now, it can also involve management who are usually more able to disguise or conceal misappropriation in ways that are difficult to detect. See, like I said, employees fraud relatively is easier. Clear? Employees fraud relatively is easier to find, but not management fraud. Management fraud is very, very difficult because they are the one who's giving us the information. They are the one who's giving us the data, and if they only conceal it, it is very difficult to find. And in case of misappropriation of asset, we are not just talking about stealing the asset, we are also talking about using it for personal purpose. Clear? Using it for personal purpose. Okay. So misappropriation of asset, how can we get it, sir? Important question. What are the ways to do fraud through misappropriation of asset? Number one, embezzling receipts. Embezzling means what, sir? Embezzling receipts means what? Misappropriating collections on account receivable or diverting the receipts in respect of written off accounts to personal bank account. Meaning what? Just remember, imagine A Limited sold goods on credit, rupees 1 lakh to Mr. Bharat. Now, Bharat in A Limited's book is a debtor, and A Limited in Bharat's book is creditor of 1 lakh. Now, this particular recovery of this debt is been assigned to Mr. Anirudh, who is an employee, clear, who is working in the sales and collection department. Now what Mr. Anirudh is doing, Mr. Bharat is not paying 1 lakh in one shot. Mr. Bharat is repaying 1 lakh. Is repaying in installments. Is repaying in installments. Now, how is he repaying in installments? So 10,000 is paying one shot, okay? At one particular shot, he'll pay 10,000, another shot 10,000, another shot 10,000. Like that, he's paying 10,000. Now, every time he pays, Mr. Anirudh has to record what? Bank or cash to debtors. Correct? Now, if it is bank, obviously, we'll identify that money has been received in company's bank account. So Anirudh says, sir, our bank is not proper. You do a thing, you pay it in cash. 10,000, no problem, sir, paid in cash. So Bharat paid in cash. Whatever cash came in, the entry was never like this. Clear? So from Bharat's point of view, he has paid money. From Anirudh's point of view, company is receiving money, but from company's point of view, company has never received the money. So what he'll do, he'll keep the balance in the same manner of 1 lakh, right? In between, if, what Bharat does is, sir, I don't have cash, I'll directly transfer to the bank account. That time he can't do anything. He has to pass the entry called bank to debtors. So whatever money was received in cash, he embezzled it. Embezzled means what, sir? Whatever money was received, he never passed his entry, and whatever balance was remaining, let's assume that 20,000 rupees. 20,000 rupees was received through bank channels. So balance is 80,000 rupees. This 80,000 rupees, which was received in cash in installments, multiple installments, this was never recorded in the books of accounts. And at the end, what did he do? In the books of accounts, he said, sir, this debt has become bad, sir. So we need to write it off, sir. He'll write off the debt. But technically, from Bharat's point of view, he is not a bad debt. He has entirely repaid 1 lakh. Yes, although 20,000 in bank and 80,000 in cash in different days, different installment, different amounts. Paid, no. He has paid it. So, Mr. Anirudh, what did he do? He embezzled that 80,000 and put it in his personal bank account. Now, this is a classic example of embezzling receipts. Embezzling receipts. Did you understand? Yes. Okay. Number two. Stealing physical assets or intellectual property. Stealing what? Physical assets or intellectual property. So you stealing anything will be considered as misappropriation of asset. Even intellectual property. Sir, what is intellectual property? It could be software. It could be a formula. Dairy Milk formula, Coca-Cola formula, yeah, top companies formula you're stealing, pharma companies formula you're stealing, right? And these things if you do, if you remember Robo movie, Rajinikanth's Robo movie, right? The villain will come and ask the two assistant, you give me schema I think, something he'll ask, no, red chip or something. Yes, now if you steal that and you give, wrong, not a good deal. Clear? Not a good thing. So you stealing physical assets or intellectual property will also be forming part of what? Misappropriation of assets. Clear? Causing an entity to pay for goods or services not received. Sir, this is called generating fake services or fake goods which company never got. Clear? I'll write here pay. Now what do you mean by this, sir? Imagine the same A Limited. In the books, it is entered that they have received maintenance services from Mr. Bharat. Clear? Mr. Bharat, and Bharat has raised an invoice. Bharat has raised an invoice of 50,000 rupees. Okay. Now, A Limited top management will never know about this, no? Will they be bothered about small invoices? No. So Bharat goes to top management and says, sir, one small bill is there, one payment has to be done. We don't have money in the cash box. Could you please, give it? Okay, in the cash box, money is there. But from the cash box, if you pay, obviously now we need to keep a record of it. So what Mr. Bharat will do, brilliantly, he'll go to the top management and he'll tell, so there is no cash in the cash box. Could you please give money? Now imagine the top management will say, okay, small bill, I'll say fine, okay, take 50,000. Now when they give 50,000, they will not even be bothering about whether invoice is there or not, who is this person, what did we receive, when did we receive, clear? And was there any record credit of receipt of services or goods? No. So imagine A Limited pays this 50,000 to Bharat. And afterwards, Bharat is the one who gave the maintenance services, right? Now, who does all these things? There will be one employee in the entity. Yes, who will be staging all these dramas. So, out of that 50,000, Bharat will share 25,000 with this employee and 25,000 he will keep. Now, this is called causing an entity to pay for the services which was never received. Clear? Which was never received. And for such things, we will be calling it as misappropriation of assets. Clear? Using an entity's assets for personal use. Now, I need not even tell anything here. Very self-explanatory point, very easy point. If you're using the assets for your own purpose rather than the entity's purpose or rather than the business purpose, it will be called as misappropriation of asset. Entity has given you a vehicle. Entity has given you a phone. Now, you tell me, entity has given you a phone. Do you call only your business people, your clients, or do you do personal calls also in that? Only business call or even personal calls? Obviously, we will be doing business calls as well, right? So when we are doing business calls as well as with that personal call when we do, technically you're not supposed to do the personal call, but if you still do it, will be considered under this particular category, using an entity's assets for personal purpose. Entity has given you a vehicle. For what purposes they would have given you? Online. Hey, my dear online. Yes, tell me. Tell me. For business purposes. So when vehicle is given to visit client's place for business purposes, now you're taking that for amusement park, you're taking it for Nandi Hills, you're taking here, you're taking there. Now this is for your purpose you're using. No, is it allowed? Is it allowed? No, sir, it is not allowed. Should it be allowed? No, should not be allowed. Even for that matter, the internet, the computers, all these things should not be allowed. But if you're doing it, it will come under this particular category called using an entity's assets for personal use. Clear? Remember this way. If you use it, then you will have to pay for it. Right? If you use it, you will have to pay for it. Meaning what, sir? U, using an entity's asset for personal use. S, stealing physical assets. E, embezzling receipts. And P, causing an entity to pay for the goods. Clear? Yes. Okay, sir. Misappropriation of assets is often accomplished by false or misleading records or documents. Example, fake invoices, fake bills, fake contracts, etc. Here. Now, if these things happen, obviously through that only misappropriation of assets can happen, right? In order to conceal the fact that the assets are missing or have been pledged without proper authorization, you do it. You use the asset, you sell the asset, but it should be with proper authorization. Without proper authorization, if you do any of those things, will be called as fraud. Sir, conceptually, one of the most important question is, whose primary responsibility is to prevent and detect the fraud? Whose responsibility is to prevent and detect the fraud? Obviously, management. Now, generally, students will think that, sir, this is auditor's responsibility, sir. It is he who should find the fraud. No way. My primary objective of audit is to report to provide reasonable assurance whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or not. I am just here to check. It's not my responsibility to prevent and detect. It's just to check. Fraud is there. If yes, what have you done with it? Clear? The primary responsibility rests with both TCWG as well as management. Who is TCWG, sir? From many days we are seeing TCWG. Who is this TCWG? Don't tell me the full form. I told you already, these people are involved in decision making. Strategically, they put up policies and procedures. Clear? They are the ones who are there at the topmost level, where they think of what policies we can put, what culture we can bring in. All those things are done by TCWG. It is important that management, with oversight of TCWG, place a strong emphasis on fraud prevention. What do I mean by oversight? What is oversight? What is the difference between oversee and overlook? What do you mean by oversight? Oversight is nothing but we talk about monitoring, supervising. Clear? Overlook, you have bypassed. Oversight is monitoring. Correct. Oversee, not bypass, you have ignored it. Not just bypass, you have just ignored it. Clear? Right. Right. Now, this involves a commitment to creating a culture of honesty and ethical behavior in the entity. Now, who should take care? Who should take care? Who should put this? Who should put this culture? Culture of honesty and ethical behavior. Whose responsibility? Yes, whose responsibility? Obviously, it is management's responsibility, because in the organization, you are the one who should put the culture. You are the one who should take care of these ethical behavior. It is not me. I am here to check. Clear? It is like you are telling the supervisor in the exam that you teach us. Teaching is not my job. It's a teacher's job. I am here to check your paper. That's it. Clear? I am here to just monitor whether you are writing properly or not. Your behavior in the exam hall and all is not my responsibility. Clear? Yes, if it is affecting the exam, then I will take a call. But apart from that, it's not my responsibility. Then what does auditor do, sir? Very important question. Important question. What do we do? We got it is management's responsibility. What do we do? Sir, an auditor conducting the audit as per SA is responsible for obtaining reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. Same objective that we have. But owing to inherent limitation, there is an unavoidable risk that misstatements which are material may not be detected, sir, even though the audit is properly planned and performed. Sir, why, sir? Why, sir? Because of inherent limitations. Because of what? Inherent limitations. Inherent limitations, who has given, sir? Inherent limitations, who has given, sir? Obviously, in your chapter 1, inherent limitations, there are 5 inherent limitations. Clear? Nature of financial reporting, nature of procedures, your future events, clear? Timeliness. So like this, you have 5 limitations which in the intermediate syllabus you should have studied, right? Now, I can't sit and teach you inherent limitations here. You need to understand that those inherent limitations are what they are talking about. Clear? Now, when management is the one who's giving you the information and management do not give information. Obviously, if management does not give information, how can we find the fraud? Correct? Yes. Which risk is more? Risk of fraud or risk of error? Two questions I'll ask you. Which risk is more and dangerous? Risk of fraud or risk of error? Which is more? Which one is more? Yes, risk of fraud is more. Clear? Risk of fraud is more. Risk of error is not that difficult to find, because error, if it is error, it is unintentional. So you do not know where the mistake is, and normal examination we can find out the mistake. But risk of fraud is intentional, so it's very difficult to find. Clear? That's it. That's your next point. You have answered it. Now you tell me, risk of management fraud is more serious or risk of employee fraud is more serious? First of all, risk of fraud is more serious, but in that also, risk of management fraud is more serious or risk of employee fraud is more risk? Management is more. Clear? Management will be more. This is because fraud may involve sophisticated and carefully organized scheme designed to conceal it, right? The objective only is to conceal it, so it's very difficult to find. Okay. Such attempts at concealment may be even more difficult when accompanied by collusion. Now, what do you mean by collusion? What is collusion? Any idea what do you mean by collusion? Collusion means what? Come on, tell me, quick. What do you mean by collusion? Collusion is nothing but where, yes, two or more people coming together as a team and then committing fraud. And if you do it, whoever I ask, if he's there in your team, obviously he will not tell fraud has happened. So it's very difficult if collusion happens. It may cause the auditor to believe that evidence is persuasive when it is in fact false. Persuasive means what? Convincing, sir. It is not convincing, but it will make you believe that convincing when everyone tells the same thing. See, if I tell something and 100 people say something else, it's different. But I tell one statement, all 100 people will tell the same statement. Won't you believe now? Won't you believe now? Yes. You will end up believing it because, sir, if one person says, I understand, I can doubt. If two people say, I understand, I can doubt. But sir, everyone is telling the same thing, how can I doubt? So it will end up making you believe that, okay, this is more convincing rather than, one person coming and telling it. Technically it is false, but it will make you believe. It will make you believe. Now, one more hidden question is there here. The auditor's ability to detect a fraud depends on certain factors, whether we'll be able to find the fraud or not. It depends on certain factors. 5 factors are there. What are those? Number 1, skillfulness of perpetrator, meaning the one who's committing the fraud is that guy skilled enough. Because if it is skill, it's very difficult to dig into it. I mean, we can, but a skillful fraudster knows exactly what we might doing, clear what steps we might be thinking, so that he would have already thought about it. So skillful perpetrator is number 1. If skill is high, obviously our procedures also will be high. Frequency and extent of manipulation. Frequency and extent of manipulation, sir. To what extent you are manipulating and how many times you are manipulating. If frequency is more, then I need to be even more careful. Clear? Degree of collusion, meaning what? Sir, how these people are like a team, they are working in fraud, sir. Clear? Degree of collusion, how much? Relative size of amounts manipulated. How big is the amount? Clear? How big is the amount that we can manipulate? And seniority of those individuals involved. Sir, seniority means what? Their age? No. We are talking about is senior management involved. If senior management is involved, then our work will be even more difficult. Clear? Degree of collusion. Is everyone involved? Or only a couple? Or few? Clear? Right? So that is called degree of collusion. And at the end, seniority. How? If you are in the senior management and where are you placed? How are you doing it? It's very difficult to find out. Clear? Yes. So you need to understand. Five things: skillfulness, frequency, clear, degree of collusion, size of the amount, seniority of amount. Clear? Like what? Sir, this is what? To detect a fraud, no? To detect a fraud, remember like this. Da, super fraudster. Clear? Or super fraudster da. Now, S. Super. Seniority, size, and skillfulness. Clear? Fraudster, F. Frequency and extent of manipulation. Clear? And then DA. Degree of collusion. Clear? If you have some other mnemonic, please go ahead. It is difficult for the auditor to determine whether misstatements in judgments areas such as accounting estimates are caused by fraud or error. Can you tell me why? Why in estimation area it is very difficult to find? Why is it so? Why is it so? Why in estimation areas it's difficult to find? Tell me. Yes, perfect. Estimation keeps changing, number one. Second thing, that's not the point. Estimation can change, it is allowed. Number two is very important. Estimation itself is a judgment, which is not accurate. So it gives them a way out by saying, oh, is it, sir? I made more provision. No, sir, it's an estimate. No, sir, I estimated a little more. Okay, sir, can you reduce it? Okay, sir, I'll reduce it. So my fraud didn't come out. That fraud, whatever I did, I increased the provision intentionally. But the fraud I did, I ensured that it doesn't look like a fraud, it looks like an error. This is why estimation has a negative point, where an estimation fraud cannot be found out so easily. Okay. The risk of auditor not detecting a material misstatement resulting from management fraud is greater than employer fraud. We have already discussed this, because management is frequently in a position to directly or indirectly manipulate the records. So whatever management says, the employees have to follow it. Otherwise, it's difficult. Okay. Now, what are fraud risk factors? Meaning is very, very important. Clear? The instances, these are nothing but examples. These are examples which I will be doing at the end. Clear? Later on, once I finish all the main concepts, then I will explain you what are these examples of different scenarios. Clear? In your module, they have given two tables. Both are examples only. One is a normal one is a digital one. Clear? Everything is put here. Okay? Right? Under opportunities, attitude. Clear? Then again more. Incentives, opportunities, attitude. Now the question is, what is fraud risk factors? What do you mean by fraud risk factor? What is the fraud risk factor? Fraud risk factor is nothing but it's an indication, or it's an indicator that fraud has happened. Clear? These are events or condition that indicate an incentive or pressure to commit fraud, or to provide an opportunity to commit a fraud. So basically it is nothing but it's an event and condition that indicates. So basically what? These are indicators. Clear? These are what? Indicators. Now the question is, what are the slightest example if you can give, it will be great, sir. Let me give you one example. The need to meet expectation of third party to obtain additional equity financing may create pressure to commit fraud. Meaning what? I want investors. Right? I want investors, but investors are asking, do you have more revenue? Which means now I want more revenue. To get this more revenue, illegitimate means of work we can use. Clear? Right? So illegitimate way, if we increase our revenue, investors are happy about revenue. They wanted revenue, we'll do fraud because we need money, and under that pressure we'll be doing it. Clear? The granting of significant bonuses if unrealistic profit targets are met may create an incentive to commit fraud. Sir, what have they told here? Granting of significant bonuses if unrealistic profits are met. Like for example, you give proper target. But if you give not a proper target, it will be very difficult for the auditor, or not auditor, the employee who is going to achieve the targets are not possible. Sir, do it. If you do it, I'll give it 10%. Now, as an employee, what will you do? As an employee, what will you do? Tell me. What will you do? Won't you work towards getting the revenue? Yes or no? Yes or no? Won't you work towards revenue? Obviously. So you want more and more revenue, and for that matter, you might end up doing sales, fake sales, dummy sales, clear? Sales which never happened, but you're showing it in the books of accounts. So like this, if you're showing it, sir, like this, if you're showing it, revenue will increase, your money also will increase. But the question is, that is called an indication. Clear? Unrealistic profit, unrealistic target and all, you should not give. Realistically, you should give. And obviously, when you're setting a target, you need to see that, okay, is this achievable for our company? Is this achievable for each and every employee? Clear? Right? A control environment that is not effective may create an opportunity to commit the fraud, which means now you need to have your ICS stronger. They're saying if ICS is weak, it's an opportunity to commit the fraud for the people. Okay. Now tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. In your house, without asking your parents, you take the money and you spend. What will parents tell? What will parents tell? You stole, right? Now the question for me, okay sir, you kept the money on the table, full wallet has a bundle of notes, you kept it on the table. Now, won't the child or the kid think of taking some money from that? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Yes, sometimes. It's okay for me. Sometimes or all the time. Yes is there, no. Now, your granny will come and tell, what is this nonsense? Why do you keep the purse there? You should keep it in the locker. You should keep it in the bureau, the Godrej. Layman language. Clear? Basically what, sir? You're providing an opportunity to commit fraud. Now you can't tell he should be not taking the money, he should know all these things. He's a kid, he'll learn it. Similarly, as an employee, some employee will never learn. Some will learn. So if you give an opportunity, obviously they might think of doing the fraud. Okay. These examples we'll do later. You can go through it if you want later. Now, why do we need to evaluate this, sir? Why evaluation of fraud risk by auditors is necessary? Clear? Now, here you have to understand language, very easy to understand. Whatever, points we are reading at the end, I'll highlight also where are the keywords. The auditor shall evaluate whether one or more fraud risks are present. Why evaluation is required? What if more than one fraud risk factor is there? Not just one motive. There could be multiple motives. Number one. Number two, while fraud risk factors may not necessarily indicate the existence of a fraud, but they have often been present in circumstances where frauds have occurred, therefore indicate ROMM due to fraud. Meaning what? I never said fraud risk factor itself proves that there is fraud. Fraud risk factor is an indication. Right? Sir, a particular company has reported more earnings, unusual, sir, than last year. Is there a fraud? Unusual increase in revenue, is there a fraud? Is there a fraud? The answer is very good. Might be, sir, may not be also, sir. We do not know, sir, exactly what my point is. It cannot indicate that there is a fraud. It cannot outrightly on its own says there is fraud. But in all the fraud cases, these indicators we have seen. Clear? In all the fraud cases, these indicators we have seen. So I can't directly blame fraud risk factor, but fraud risk factor has a very big role to play in fraud detection. Very big role. Clear? The fact that fraud is usually concealed can make it very difficult to detect. Nevertheless, you may identify a fraud risk factor cannot be easily be ranked in order of importance. Sir, I can't rank you come first and you come next. All fraud risk factor are equal to me. Clear? The specific significance fraud risk factor varies widely. Some of these factors will be present in the entities where some specific conditions do not present. ROMM. Even if when you are understanding the entity ROMM, you have not found too much. But yes, fraud risk factor may be present. You never know. It's a preliminary examination, preliminary assessment, and that is the reason why you are telling that, okay, sir, I may identify here. Clear? The significance varies widely. Some will be present in entities where specific conditions do not present. ROMM. So when I see ROMM is not there, but there is fraud concealed in it. Concealed means what? Hidden. Clear? Accordingly, the determination of whether a fraud risk factor is present and whether it is to be considered in the assessment of ROMM due to fraud requires exercise of professional judgment. At the end of the day, whether should I use this information or not is a professional call. It is my judgment. Okay, I'll highlight the keywords for you. One is done. Clear? May not indicate existence, but these instances have been occurred in circumstances where frauds have occurred. Wherever frauds are there, these indicators are there. That doesn't mean wherever these indicators are there is equal to fraud. Evaluate that. Clear? Then, usually concealed. Clear? Difficult to detect. Identify FRF, fraud risk factor. Clear? Cannot be easily ranked in order of importance. Who comes first, who comes next? Not possible at all. Clear? Accordingly, it varies wildly. Clear? Present in the entities where specific conditions do not present. ROMM. Whether a fraud risk factor is present, whether it is to be considered in assessing ROMM is totally exercise of professional judgment. Clear? Yes. Right. Right. So the next topic will be maintaining professional skepticism. What do you mean by professional skepticism, sir? What is professional skepticism? Very good. ABC. Professional skepticism is nothing but ABC. What is ABC? Yes. Questioning mind, a questioning mind. B, being alert to condition. Being alert to conditions. And C, critical assessment of audit evidence. Critical assessment of audit evidence. Meaning you should always be alert. You should always be on your toes to see, okay, what is happening here. You have to maintain when, sir, initially, later, during the audit, sir, throughout the audit, you are supposed to maintain the professional skepticism. So keep questioning any particular indication you feel, anything you feel is off, it's not right. Ask questions. Why is this? Don't be scared to ask questions. You are the CA and you're representing an auditor. If you are not a CA, you need to ask questions. Clear? You need to ask questions. For example, if you don't do homework, I ask you a question. Why didn't you do it? It's a questioning mind because I want to know the reason behind it. Whatever reason you give, I will not directly accept it. Correct? Now you might tell, sir, I had a lot of work and I was at client's place. I was doing this, I was doing that. But you tell me, I know no for a reason. It's not that I am not a CA, right? I also know that yes, articleship pressure will be there, clear. And I also know, it's very difficult to manage the time. But don't you think you need to squeeze in the time if you want to clear? Or if you're okay with, sir, I don't want to clear at the earliest, I'll take my own time and clear, then that's fine. Your call. But my question to you is, when you say you have not done the homework, I'll ask you the question, and that question when I ask, you will have it in mind that sir will ask questions to me. Clear? Right? So similarly, as a CA, you should ask questions to them. Clear? You should ask questions to them. And any conditions you see, be alert. Clear? Be alert. Quick. Right? Then critical assessment of evidence. Whatever evidence you have got, you're supposed to ask questions on it. Clear? Critically assess it. Evaluate whether this is fake document, original document, who gave it, why did he give it. Clear? Yes. Recognizing the possibility that material misstatement due to fraud could exist, notwithstanding the auditor's past experience of the honesty and integrity of management. Meaning what, sir? Even though you know about the management, you do not know about the management. You never know how and when people will change. Clear? So as an auditor, what you are supposed to do is nothing but keep your professional skepticism game at a top-notch level. Clear? Like asking, being alert, whatever evidence is there, properly seeing it. These things you should be in the top. Clear? Unless you have a reason to believe the contrary, you may accept the records and documents as genuine if conditions are identified that makes you believe that the document may not be authentic. Then you have to investigate further, which means generally trust the documents. Clear? And records generally, but if it gives you indication that document is not genuine, investigate further. Clear? Investigate further. So generally we will accept it. Clear? Because sir, why, sir? We are not experts in identifying fake documents. We are not experts. So generally we'll accept what our management is giving. That's why we need to understand, sir, should I actually take photocopy or should I take original one? It's your call. Right? Generally we take it, but in case if there is any indication that it makes you believe this is not true, then apply more procedures. Where responses to inquiries are inconsistent, investigate such inconsistency. Example, with respect to debtor, I asked, how much does Bharat owe you? 1 minute. How much does Bharat owe you? You will tell 1 lakh. But when I asked Bharat, Bharat said, I don't owe anything. Now somebody is saying 1 lakh, somebody is saying nothing. Obviously there is some inconsistency, I got to know that from Bharat. So I came and asked the management. Management response was not consistent with the information that I have. Therefore, investigate the inconsistency. Go and check whose word is proper. And now if Bharat said, no, nothing is, balance from my side, sir, I have paid everything. Give me the proof of payment, Noda. Give me the proof of payment. Yes, you can call it as a contradictory evidence. But this is called contradictory responses. Okay. Yeah. Which last point you want me to explain? Which last point? Second point which I wrote. This one. We are not experts in identifying fake documents. Are we an expert in finding whether a document is original or fake? How do we identify? We will not identify. Clear? It's not our job also. We are not investigators. We are auditors. We come here, we check the financial statements, whatever document is there, we'll believe it is genuine until and unless there is some indication. What indication, sir? Imagine. This is the invoice. This is invoice A. This is invoice B. This not in the scope of audit. Yes, correct. Not in the scope of audit. Investigating the documentation is not in the scope of audit. Now imagine in invoice A, there is heading here, date here, right? Party name, serial number, particular, that is details, quantity, rate, amount, tax, total, etc. Now in invoice B, there is heading party name, date is there, serial number, details, amount, tax, total. Yes, perfect, Neha, perfect, super. Now these two invoices are there, all right. Now imagine the heading of invoice B is here. Tell me, which is original, which is not? Which one is original, which one is fake? Will you be able to identify? A is original, B is fake. Is it? How? Quantity is mentioned, that's why. My dear students, no. You never asked who gave this invoice A, who gave this invoice B. Imagine this invoice B was given by the vendor, and this is the invoice which was created by entity. Now you tell me. Now you tell me. Which one is original, which one is duplicate? Which one is original, which one is duplicate? Understood, sir. Our scope is not to investigate and we only need to report if we come across. Correct. Our scope is not to sit and investigate this, but if we come across this particular thing, then we need to take some responsibilities of it. Clear? One practical example I'll give you. Okay. Check in GST portal. Why? Why should I check in GST portal? In GST portal, I can simply key in the details, no? And GST portal will be the clients, and obviously they might tell, sir, the work is going on, sir. You check later, sir. Now, checking in GST portal, all these things are nothing but what an investigator does. You can. I'm not saying you should not. It's a method of checking the authenticity. Right. Let me narrate a situation to you, which has actually happened in one of the audits. The person was auditing a hotel company. Okay. Franchise hotels only. Now, in their P&L, there was one particular expense which was constant throughout the year. Every month, this one particular expense was there. Okay, and when they digged deep into it, they got to know it's an expense which is related to coconuts, right? And they said quantity is 5,000. Quantity is how much? 5,000. Now, every month do you require 5,000 coconuts is the question. See, you guys have to participate in this. Then only this example you will understand better. Okay. Every month 5,000 coconuts is required or what? Is it required? Season time, yes. What is season time? What is season time? I'm not talking about tender coconuts, ma. I'm talking about coconuts in the restaurant for chutney and all they use. No, that is what I'm talking about. Is it required? Tell me quickly. It might vary, sir. Not constant. This is what we have to conclude. No, it need not be 5,000 coconuts constant every month. Correct. So, the junior article who was doing the audit, he put a tick mark saying yes, right, expense is there, okay, bill is there, entry is there, put a tick mark, correct. Now the senior guy saw that and he said, don't audit this particular expense, this particular bill is fake. Now he said, sir, how, sir, such a good entity, why will they do all these things, sir, why will they fake? He said, no, this is fake. For sure, this is fake. Now you tell me, how do we identify it is a fake bill or not? How did he identify it's a fake bill or not? Right, let me tell you. He told the junior article that this bill is fake. Okay, and he asked how. So he said, you carefully look at the bill. The bill has the columns called quantity, particulars, rate, and amount. Clear? Serial number, description, quantity, rate, and amount. Maybe based on demand or price of coconut at that time. Not really. Logical reasoning, sir. Try to understand. Good way of thinking also. So, in that particular invoice of coconuts purchased, you know what is coconut? No, I hope you know what is coconut. This is called coconut. This is called coconut. Yes. Now, they say 5,000 worth of 5,000 coconuts every month we require. Correct. Yes. In Tamil they say Tengai. In Tulu they say Tarai. Now, this particular thing 5,000 per month if you are requiring, no boss, something is wrong. Fine, sir. Now, the junior guy accepted saying, sir, hotel industry, no, probably they require, sir. He saw that the invoice of this particular vendor, serial number is there, description is there, quantity, rate and amount, all are filled. Not only that, no puja, even if the nature of business requires a lot of coconuts, it cannot be every month same quantity until and unless it is proved. You can't assume it, no. It has to be proved. Right? Now, in this, amount column was filled. The best part was even amount in words were also filled. Clear? Amount in words were also filled. This is a problem. This is a problem. How can you fill amount in words? Sir, why will they not fill, fill, sir? Now, the name of the vendor, you have no. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. Sir, what if they are in a contract for 5K? That's what I told Neha. I told you until and unless it is proved. Are you getting my point? It has to be proved that, okay, 5,000 coconuts we require, sir. Prove it. Now, he went and asked the inventory manager, okay, show me the inventory register now. Forget, I will assume that you require 5,000 coconuts every month. Show me the inventory register. And he said, sir, inventory register, we have not updated it. How come? How will you track that? Clear? So he caught them off guard when he said, I will check inventory register tomorrow at any cost. And if you have not updated that, I will report it, saying I can't trust the inventory amount, valuation. Then he checked the name of the vendor. Okay, he checked the name of the vendor. Now, obviously, in the local area, you will see whether this vendor is there or not. No. Right, the name was fake. Now it's getting into gray area, sir. The name was fake. Clear? So what happened? Slowly, they started getting a doubt saying this invoice is not the right one. We need to check more and more. So this senior guy played a small move. He said, see, you're not showing inventory register, I'm going to report it. And after reporting, I will not be the person you'll be talking to, you'll be talking to my boss. You explain it to him. What is this? And my boss might talk to your boss also. Clear? That time this fellow said, okay, sir. Right. Okay. I'll tell you. This is not coconut expense. This is not coconut expense. Then what is this, sir? Then what is this, sir? That is when he told, sir, this is not coconut expense actually. This is our particular one person in the management. He requires a particular type of alcohol, which will cost so much, sir. And every month he requires that. And that is why we did not know what to do. We put it in P&L. It's company expense. No, sir. He's working for the company. No, that's why we put it here. Tell me now. Tell me now. What should you do? Did you sit and dig into the documentation first? No. It gave a clear-cut indication. It's a common sense also. Which coconut vendor will fill each and every column, that too rupees in figures and rupees in words? Who will write all those things? Have you seen any vegetable vendor, coconut vendor doing that? Until and unless it is a software generated. Huh? Tell me, have you ever seen a manual vegetable vendor or even a wholesaler writing all these and giving it to you? Pakka bill. Too much of perfection also will lead into trouble. Is that clear? First of all, vegetable guys will never give bills, sir. Correct. Absolutely right. Clear? Yes. Right, sir. Shivagami, I hope you understood. Right. Right, sir. Next. Discussion among the engagement team. Sir, the discussion among the engagement team shall place particular emphasis on how and where the financial statements may be susceptible to material misstatement due to fraud. What I mean by susceptible? I'll explain that also, Pooja. Just give me 1 minute, okay? Yes. Susceptible means what? Very good. Prone to fraud, sir. Or area of weakness. Area of weakness. Clear? Including how fraud might occur. Okay. The discussion shall occur notwithstanding the engagement team members' belief that the management and TCWG are honest and have integrity. Meaning, I'll write here, even if the team believes, even if the team believes that management is honest, still discussion has to be done. Still, team discussion must be done. You cannot take it for granted. Clear? Even if the team believes that management is honest, sir, TCWG is very good, sir, you still have to go and check. Why? People. In Sanskrit, there is a saying, Ati Vinayam Durta Lakshanam. Too much of kindness. You have to keep people far away from you. Clear? Right? Now the question is, if everything is perfect, very difficult to trust. So even if you believe that management is honest, sir, TCWG is honest. I mean, if they're honest, they have nothing to lose, no? If you check it also. So you should check on your own anyway, whether they are honest, whether they are dishonest. Only thing is the extent might differ. Clear? The extent might differ. How much we have to do in a case where management is dishonest versus how much we have to do when management is honest. Talks about it. Clear? Understood? Yes. Now coming to Pooja's doubt. Pooja's doubt is, sir, we could have put that in the miscellaneous expense, and sometimes we don't audit miscellaneous expense. I would rather, I'll explain that, but before that, I would encourage you guys to put it in the chat box, which is, publicly visible for other students also, so that they can also counter question it or even have response ready for it. Or they can also give response to it, so that it will be more of a discussion part. Yeah. Yes. Can we do it? If you're uncomfortable, please let me know. Where is that option? I think there, when you are having that saying send it to, you can send it to group chat, I feel. Not able to change the settings, huh? Okay, wait, hold on. Now try. Now try. Right. Super. Super. Okay. Now here there is an extra content which we'll do later. Extra content. Clear? A11 of annexure. A11 of annexure. Saying what discussion we have to make. Clear? What discussion we have to make. Let me just show you. Right. See here. What discussion we have to make, sir? The discussion may include, since extra content, again I'm telling you, it's not there in your syllabus, but just again, sir, discussion with the management and with the team, we have to do, no, right? So to do that discussion, what matters we have to talk among us, sir? Exchange of ideas among engagement team members about how and where they believe entities' financial statements may be susceptible to misstatement. Everyone will have a different perspective, correct? Everyone will have a different perspective. So therefore, with a different perspective, you see what you think where we can check, or where are the areas where fraud can happen. How management could perpetrate and conceal fraudulent financial reporting, and how assets can be misappropriated. Just basically discussion saying what is your opinion where fraud can be done, not by you, by them. Consideration of circumstances that might be indicative of earnings management and practices that might be followed could lead to a fraudulent financial reporting, meaning unethical practices. Indicators giving unethical practices should be discussed. Known external or internal factors affecting the entity may create an incentive or pressure or for management or others to commit fraud, provide the opportunity to be perpetrated, or and indicate a culture and environment that enables management to rationalize committing the fraud. Basically what? Internal and external factors affecting the entity may create either incentive or pressure or opportunity. What are those factors? The ICS being weak, law is being stringent, sorry, law is not being stringent, my bad. Clear? Gives an opportunity to continue with the fraud. Clear? Consideration of management's involvement in overseeing employees with access to cash or other assets susceptible to misappropriation. Oversee means what again? Supervising. So TCWG's supervision on employees who have access to cash has to be discussed, because obviously then he can take cash whenever he wants. Clear? Unusual or unexplained changes in behavior or lifestyle of management or employees which have come to the attention of the team. Imagine your neighbor, till now he was traveling by walk. Tomorrow he gets Jaguar, he gets Mercedes, he gets BMW, and he gets 4 rings car. Tell me, won't you have a doubt in your mind, in your head? Won't you have a doubt in your head? Huh? Won't you have a doubt in your head? Suspicious. Okay, then what else? What else? What thoughts can come to your mind? What thoughts can come to your mind? And imagine he has iPhone Pro Max, okay, Pro Max, Maxest. Clear? Then, sir, full gold chain, okay, he is a walking jewelry shop, right? What thoughts can come into your head? He is involved in some unethical activity. Think. More you think. Huh? Did he steal things? Oh, yappa. Good. Or did he get gifts? Oh, ho, ho. Such gifts, huh? Such gifts. Yes. Right? Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Don't you think one sentence, sir? From where did he get this money, sir? Primary source should be analyzed. See, when a neighbor only can see it, imagine suddenly an auditor who was an employee at operational level coming in the luxury car as his boss. Suddenly, and employees are all talking, sir, till yesterday he was not doing well. Suddenly, in one day, how can people change, sir? Now you need to be careful. From where the money is being given? Is the money given from the entity's cash box, or is it given? Lucky Bhaskar movie, very good. Exactly, yes. Lucky Bhaskar is what we are talking about. Yes, very good, very good. Never thought of that example. Good. Or even Harshad Mehta for that matter. Telgi for that matter. All scams, suddenly when you start buying things, people will start looking at you in a different manner only, no? Right? So when suddenly it's a lifestyle changes have happened. Discuss it. Like gossip among yourself. Emphasis on importance of maintaining a proper state of mind throughout the audit regarding potential for misstatement due to fraud. Meaning you have to keep telling all of them, see, keep focus. Keep focus. Do not get distracted. Do not take it lightly. Okay. Next, consideration of types of circumstances if encountered may indicate possibility of fraud. What are the different scenarios or situations that indicates fraud? Different scenario or situations that indicate fraud. You need to discuss among yourselves. How an element of unpredictability will be incorporated into the NTE of procedures. Meaning what, sir? Surprise checks. How surprise checks will be taken care. Clear? And that is what we are talking about here. How surprise check will be involved. Where we should do surprise check, how we should do surprise check has to be discussed. Consideration of procedures that might be selected to respond to the susceptibility of entities' financial statements due to fraud and whether certain types of procedures are more effective than others. What procedures are effective? What procedures are not effective? Have a discussion. Clear? Have a discussion with them. Okay. Then consideration of any allegations or fraud that have come to auditor's attention. I did not get. Did you get it? As a team, you need to ask. Anyone has got this particular complaints or even allegations for that matter. Consideration of risk of management override of control. And this I have already told you. Management override of control. Remember? Clear? Right? Okay. Right. Now come back to the chapter. So these are additional content. Later on, if you want, you copy. You pause the video, copy the points if you want for better understanding. Clear? Okay. Any doubts still here? Any doubts still here? Are you sure? Any doubts? No, no doubts. Okay. Okay. Right. So from now onwards, we start our audit procedures. Clear? From now onwards, we start our audit procedures. Right? Clear? Yes. 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 Okay. Okay. Now, this is number one. Procedure number one. Number 2. 3. 4. Clear? 4 procedures. Then we evaluate the evidence. Once evaluation is done, conclusion, right? Communication, and documentation. Okay, sir. What is the first procedure? Right? What's the first procedure, sir? First procedure is generally what procedure we apply? Generally, what procedure we apply? In normal audit, what is the first procedure we apply? Step number one. Step number one. Yes. Yes. Absolutely right, Shivagami. Absolutely right. RAP. First, we apply risk assessment procedure. Then we apply further audit procedures. So step number one here also is the same only. RAP, risk assessment procedures and related activities be geared towards obtaining information for use in identifying ROMM due to fraud. Sir, what is RAP, sir? What is RAP, sir? It's a procedure to obtain three things. What are these three things? To obtain three things. What are these three things? Number one, information. How, sir? How? Through understanding the entity, environment, internal control system. Clear? So obtain information about three things. Information about entity through understanding the entity. Clear? Environment through understanding the environment, and ICS through understanding the ICS. Right? Now, this is why we need. Why, sir? To ensure that ROMM is low. Risk of material misstatement is as low as possible. Clear? Right. Now, when performing RAP and related activities to obtain understanding of entity, environment and ICS. Clear? In that case, you shall perform the procedures to obtain information for use in identifying the ROMM due to fraud, like inquiries, management and others within the entity. Clear? Then what else we have? Obtaining understanding as to how TCW exercises oversight of management process, right? Then internal control that management has established to mitigate these risks, evaluation of unexpected relationships. Clear? Now, meaning what? Number A. So step number one, try to do RAP and related activities. Clear? Like what? Inquiries, number one. Number two, clear, understanding of management's oversight, or rather TCWG's oversight. ICS, internal control system. 2, mitigate this risk. Clear? And D, evaluation of unexpected relationships. Clear? Evaluation of unexpected relationships identified. Where do we identify this? While doing analytical procedure as a risk assessment procedure, and that point of time we need to understand that. Okay, these are the 4 ways of inquiring in, or these are the 4 ways of finding out in case of management. Evaluate whether the information obtained from the other RAP indicates one or more fraud risk factors. What is other RAP, sir? Here we have done inquiry and all, no? Clear? Here we have done what? Inquiry and all. Here others means what, sir? Example. let's say you do observation. Clear? Can you tell me what are the other risk assessment procedures we have discussed in the past? IO, remember IO? What are the different RAP? IO, what is IO? What is IO? AIIO, analytical procedure, inquiry, inspection, observation. Clear? So any of you do, any of these things you do, and there if you find anything, consider that as well. This is step number 1. Step number 1 is what? Performing RAP, right there. Step number 1, performing RAP. Step number 1, performing RAP. Done. Written. Yes, sir. Any doubts? Any doubts? Pakka? Are you sure? Huh? Are you sure? Shall we go to the step number 2? Step number 1 is what? RAP. In RAP, we generally have 4 procedures. Analytical procedure, inquiry, inspection, observation. Through inquiry, if you have found something, that will come under point number 1. Other RAP will come under point number 2. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Pakka, sir? Yes. Step number 2. Now comes step number 2. Once you have done your RAP, why do you do RAP? To understand the entity, to ensure whether ROMM is there or not. Once you know ROMM is there, ROMM will be there at 2 levels, financial statement level and assertion level. Right? So generally, once you assess what is the risk, what is the general response, sir? What is the general response? Number 1, assign and supervise personnel, taking account the knowledge, skill, ability of the individuals to be given, significant engagement responsibility, and orders assessment of ROMM due to fraud for the engagement. Meaning what? Sir, in short, assign experienced people. Assign what? Experienced people rather than inexperienced people. Evaluate whether selection and application of accounting policy by the entity, particularly those related to subjective measurements and complex transaction, may be indicative of fraudulent financial reporting resulting from management's effort to manage the earnings. Sir, selection and application of accounting policy, meaning accounting policies of complex transactions. Very difficult to understand. Clear? Very difficult to understand the transaction here, and it's giving a little more headache, sir. So that's why we are not able to find. Now, in case it gives you an indication, okay, sir, accounting policy is such that it is giving us indication to fraud, complex transaction. Be careful. Professional skepticism should come. Clear? Incorporate an element of unpredictability in the selection of procedures. Meaning what, sir? Always carry a surprise element. Like you guys have done audit, no? Have you guys done something called a surprise check? No? What is surprise check? Cash, very good. Cash you should verify without telling them. Perfect. Without telling them, directly go there and say, I want to check cash today. Right? Check it out and then give an opinion on that. Okay? Now, sir, now see, above one is general response. Now we are talking about specific response. Design and perform further audit procedures whose NTE are responsive to the assessed ROM due to fraud at the assertion level. So design and perform further procedures in such a way that the procedure is responsive. Not just doing it for the sake of doing it. It should respond to us. It should give us the information that we require. Clear? In doing so, change NT of procedures to obtain evidence that is more reliable and relevant or obtain additional corroborative information. So for specific items, it could be debtor, it could be sales, it could be bank. For specific things, what you can do if you want, you can rely more on reliable and relevant evidence. Like, sir, external, if I believe external is better than internal, go for external. Clear? Can we go for internal evidence or internally generated evidence? Can we go for it? Internally generated evidence. External is effective than internal, sir. No, not necessarily. If ICS is very good, can we trust the internal evidence? Example, banks. Now you tell me, when you go to bank, okay, and audit banks, whose information you're using? Whose information you're using? Bank's information only, no? Imagine you go to a bank where my account is there and bank has given you one balance. As on 31st March, Karthik has 1 lakh rupees. Right? Daily wage worker, poor worker. 1 lakh is like crore for us. Imagine 1 lakh is the amount which is shown. We can, but depends on certain situation. What is the situation? I need to know the answer. Like, see, vague answers, then I have to assume things. That's why I want you to be as much as specific as possible. As specific as possible. Now listen to this carefully. One more. Bank will give you that balance. Do you go and confirm with Karthik sir? Karthik sir, bank has told your balance is 1 lakh. Is it? Do you take confirmation from Karthik sir? No. Do you take confirmation from account holders? No, not possible. Therefore, we need to rely on internal control only. And if internal control is strong, bank's ICS is very strong. Clear? We can trust their information, no issues. We need not take external information. You decide, you take a call. You decide first is what standard says. Clear? Yes. So, in doing so, you see what procedure is more reliable and relevant. And if you feel external is good, you take external. If you feel internal is good, you can check for the internal one. Sir, I want it in writing. You can take it in writing also, no problem. Clear? Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Next. But in banks, many frauds are occurring, sir. How can we trust? Okay. What type of fraud you're talking about? What type of fraud you are talking about? See, generally in banks, no, ICS is very good. RBI inspection will happen. Concurrent audit is happening. Stat audit is happening. Monitoring is more. Clear? So banks ICS generally is very good. Alright. But since you're telling in banks many frauds are occurring, what type of fraud you are talking about? Clear? Now, is it related to financial statements, not related to financial statement? If yes, what area? Which area? Depending on those, I can answer this. Okay? Now, procedures responsive to risk related to management override. Sir, this is nothing but SA 330. What is SA 330, sir? SA 330 talks about this. Understood? Clear? Management is in a unique position to perpetrate fraud because their ability to manipulate the records and prepare financial statements by overriding controls appear to be operating effectively. Sir, management has the ability to override the control. What does override means? Consider superior. So management is saying we are superior. Yes, we are dominating. We take the upper hand here. Clear? So in that case, obviously it is very difficult, right? So what should we do, sir? The risk is present in all entities. This is there in all entities. Because whose responsibility is to design TCS? Whose responsibility is to design ICS? Management, right? When management has designed the ICS, don't you think that management knows how to breach that also? Right? Don't you think management knows how to breach that? Yes. Obviously, management will know how to breach that, and that is risky for us. Right? Due to unpredictable way in which such override could occur, it is a risk of material misstatement due to fraud. Therefore, it is a significant risk, which means, therefore, management override is equal to significant risk. Clear? Management override is equal to significant risk. Now, very important question. Very important question. Clear? What we are supposed to do, irrespective of auditor's assessment of risk of management override of control, the auditor shall design and perform procedures. Meaning what, sir? Therefore, these must be done. These must be done. No excuses, no reasons. Clear? Irrespective of your assessment of risk, whether risk is less, risk is more, you have to do these. What is that? Number one, test the appropriateness of journal entries recorded in the ledger. Sir, whatever entries they have put, is it appropriate or not? Clear? Is it appropriate or not? You need to check it. Number one, where in the recorded in the general ledger, basically books of accounts. Review accounting estimates for biases. Meaning what? What if you have done an accounting estimate based on your bias? You would have made more, you would have made less. So you have a bigger bias there. Therefore, we need to verify if there is any bias in passing some journal entries or even accounting estimates. If yes, it represents a risk of material misstatement due to fraud. Okay. For significant transactions that are outside the normal course of business, which appears to be unusual, clear, evaluate whether the business rationale, that is the basis or the lack thereof, suggest that there may have been entered into fraudulent financial reporting or misappropriation of assets. Meaning, anything that you do outside the normal course of business, why would you do it? Why would you do it? Tell me, why would you do it? Imagine you have a general store. Okay? You have a general store. Personal benefits, sir. Okay. Now in the general store, it's a movie's scene that I'm explaining it to you. In the general store, it's mothers. Okay. So the son comes and tells, I feel there's some gas smell coming. Go inside the house and check. Mother goes. In the shop now, his crush comes. Now when his crush comes, he will be giving Let's say, for example, 1 kilo onion, you take one perfume free. For one chocolate, you take some other things for free. Clear? Like this, they will tell. And mother comes and asks, what is going on between you both? Okay? What's going on between you both? That time they'll tell. No, actually, nothing is going on. This female only is coming and talking to me. That time that female will tell your mom, Auntie, I am talking. You see what your son has done. If I buy this soap, chocolate free it seems. If I buy this, some other things are free it seems. So like this, he's giving all the things for free. Now, won't your mother ask who is this person who you are doing so much for? Yes, nothing. Personal benefit. Yeah. Suggests that the entity may have been entered into fraudulent financial reporting or misappropriation of asset, which is nothing but fraud. Fraud. Yes, Sivagami, you're right. Absolutely right. Clear? That's your step number 4. Right? Quickly go through all 4. Quickly go through all 4 steps before we go to the conclusion. Quick. Done? Okay. Step number 1. Wrap. Step number 2. Now, remember this. In wrap, what do you understand? Identify the risk. Next. Respond to those risks. Clear? First you identify, then you respond. Now, response will be in 2 types. Number 1, general response. Specific response. Clear? General response and specific response. My question to you. Then we come to the 4th one. See, 2nd and 3rd is covered here only. Clear? This is 2nd and this is 3rd step. This is 1st step. Right? 4th step. 4th step. Procedures responsive to risk related to management. Specifically. Done? Yes. Preliminary points easy. Yes, sir. Okay. Now that we have done, don't you think we had the data, we looked at the information, we put up the above procedures. Obviously, examination also will come into the picture. Okay. What is the next part? What is the next part in the cycle that I had given you? Data, information, procedure, examination, and then we have, come on, tell me, my dear loose. Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah. Right. Where was I? Till from where did you had audio problem? Evidence. Okay. Right. So evidence basically I'm talking about. We need to obtain evidence. This still here. Is it clear? Were you able to hear? Huh. Okay, fine. Right. So evidence is basically where I need. Right. So after doing examination only we get evidence. Now we need to evaluate that evidence. Right. After evaluation of evidence only we come to a conclusion. Now that we are done, now we'll evaluate the evidence, right? We got the information initially. Yeah, we put the procedures, RAP, this is what we did, correct? We put the procedures, right? Also through examination only. Now we have the evidence and we have to evaluate the evidence. You shall evaluate whether analytical procedures are consistent with the understanding of the entity environment indicate a previously unrecognized ROMM due to fraud. Sir, what do you mean by that? See, analytical procedures are discussed in SA 520. Okay, you have to evaluate whether the analytical procedure that you have put, are they consistent with your understanding of entity, environment, indicates unrecognized ROMM due to fraud. So when you analyze and when you evaluate, that will tell you whether there is actually ROMM or not, because you have an understanding and you would have already got the evidence. Compare these two. Basically compare AP with evidence obtained, AP with evidence obtained from understanding. Whether you identify a misstatement. If you identify a misstatement, you have to evaluate whether it is indicative of fraud or not, because misstatement can happen due to fraud also, error also. So first go and identify whether it is fraud or error. Like I said, your fake debtors, right? Now is it a double entry, right? If it is a double entry, yes sir, by mistake it happened, sorry sir, it will not happen again. We understand that, clear. But apart from that, if you're saying no sir, you identified that this particular thing was a fraud, then your procedure will change. If it is error, you're saved. If it is fraud, your procedure will be more. Clear? If there is such an indication that there is fraud, evaluate the implications on misstatement. Clear? Evaluate the implications on what? Misstatement in relation to other aspects, particularly the reliability of management representation. Recognizing that there is an instance of fraud which is unlikely to be an isolated occurrence. Meaning what? Sir, it's not the only time it happened. Not the only time it happened. Clear? So if there is such an indication, meaning what? Point number 2, continuation. If there is such an indication, evaluate the implications of the misstatement to other aspects of audit. Sir, I found that management lied to me, sir. I found that there was a dummy debtor, sir. I found there is a fake debtor, sir. Okay, sir, what should I do? Now you got to know that it's indicating fraud. In that case, boss, if I got to know that one of the debtor is fraudulent, management would have already given some WR before. Management would have already given WR before. Evaluate those WR. Should I believe that, sir, this is not the first time I saw fake debtors. I've been seeing it every now and then, which means whatever information you have given to me before, whatever representations you have given to me before, will I be able to rely on that? Will I be able to rely on that? The answer is no. How, sir? Let me ask you one general question. If you lie to your mother once, it's okay. But continuously you lie. Next time when you're telling something, will she trust you or will she doubt you everywhere now? She'll start doubting you everywhere. Similarly, here they are telling that, sir, If management fraud we found only once, I understand, but that also we need to not take it very lightly, but we understand that okay, it's a one-off instance. But if it is not one-off instance, more than one instances I have seen, then I really will start doubting everything that management has told to me now. I won't be able to trust outrightly. Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you getting it? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. If the auditor identifies a misstatement, whether material or not, and he has a reason to believe that it is or maybe the result of fraud, and that management is also involved, re-evaluate the assessment of ROMM. Sir, if you identify a misstatement, whether material or not, misstatement, totally misstatement, we have never said material misstatement, whether you, when you identify a misstatement and you believe that it is or maybe the result of fraud, and that management is also involved, then re-evaluate the assessment of ROMM due to fraud and its resulting impact on your procedures to respond to the risk. Meaning what? Very simple. Very simple. If you identify a mistake and you have a reason to believe that this is not because of error, sir, this is because of fraud. If you believe that this is because of fraud, no issues. What will you do? Re-evaluate the assessment of ROMM. Re-evaluate what? Assessment of ROMM. Due to fraud, not due to error, due to fraud, and its impact on the procedures. Very simple question I'll ask you. If you understand that there is ROMM due to fraud, will you put more procedures or will you put less procedures? Will you put more procedures or will you put less procedures? If you find that there is a risk, there is a fraud, will you put more procedures or will you put less procedures? You will put more procedures, sir. Now, how much more to put? What type of other procedures I have to put and when am I supposed to put? That is called nature, timing and extent of procedures to respond to the risk. You need to understand that part as well. Should I change my procedure or not? We are just evaluating the evidence. See, the entire topic is what? We are evaluating whatever evidence we have got. We are evaluating that. Okay. Consider whether circumstances or conditions indicate possible collusion. I am not saying collusion has happened. But is there a possibility of collusion, sir? Involving employees, management, third parties when reconsidering the reliability of documents previously obtained. Imagine I am a third party to your client and I also gave confirmation. Later on you got to know even I was involved. Whatever confirmation I have given in the past, will you trust me now with respect to those confirmation also? Will you trust the third party now? No, sir. Reliability is gone. Clear? And that's the magic of fraud. As an auditor, if I get to know these indications, then I will not rely on you. I would want first-hand direct information. Clear? When auditor confirms that or is unable to conclude whether financial statements are materially misstated, evaluate the implications for the audit. Meaning what? Meaning what? Evaluate whether to withdraw or report. To withdraw or report. Okay. Now, auditor is unable to continue the engagement. So, this is same what we did in SQC. This is same what we did in SQC. Remember, if you are withdrawing, if it is allowed, you can withdraw. If it is not allowed, you can't withdraw, etc. Same thing. Let's go through it once. Auditor is unable to continue his engagement. First of all, determine the professional and legal responsibilities. Whether you have the responsibility to report to the people who made the appointment. And in some cases, do I have the responsibility to tell to the regulatory authorities like RBI, SEBI, etc. Clear? So determine, is there any responsibility, clear, for you to report either to the person who made the appointment or to the regulatory authority. Step number 1. Done? Yes. Let's talk about step number 2 now. Step number 2 says, consider whether it is appropriate to withdraw from the engagement wherever it is permitted. If it is permitted, then good for me. I can withdraw. Now come to the same step, sub-step. If the auditor withdraws, what will happen, sir? Discuss with the appropriate level of management and TCWG that you are withdrawing and what are the reasons for withdrawing. Tell it to the management or TCWG saying, I'm done, sir, I'm leaving. Clear? Then comes the last one. Determine, is there any professional or legal requirement to report to the person who made the appointment or regulatory authorities the auditor's withdrawal from the engagement and the reason. Meaning what? If you withdraw, the reason and your decision of withdrawing should be reported. For example, company auditor, if he resigns, he has to file form number ADT to his ROC, respective ROC. Yes or no? Clear? So basically what they are trying to tell, they are trying to tell that do you have a responsibility or a requirement? As per law, is there a requirement that you have to tell it to people who appointed you, or you have to tell it to the regulatory authorities? You have to tell them. Very easy, nothing big in this. Clear? There are only 2 steps. Step 1, what? Determine, is there any responsibility? Step 2, withdraw. If withdrawal is not possible, sir, you have not that. You have not told, sir. What if withdrawal is not possible? If withdrawal is not possible, loose tools. Modify the opinion. Clear? Modify the opinion. Very good, Pooja. SA 705. SA 705. Is that clear? Is that clear, guys and girls? Why should girls feel bad about it? Is that clear? Yes, sir. Pakka, sir. Okay. Now, management representation. Basically, obtain WR. Can you tell me under which standard WR is discussed? Very good. Very good. Pooja, which standard is this, ma? Yes, lovely, lovely. So, I think you guys have a good intermediate subject clarity if you are remembering exactly which standard it is. Can I assume that? I mean, I have to assume, right? That's the reason why you have an entire 100-mark paper there. Correct? Good, good. SA 580. SA 580. Little, sir. And this little is good enough for us. This little only will make it little more. Okay. The auditor should obtain WR from management with respect to their responsibility. Same general only, nothing is there here. Clear? Their responsibility for design, implementation and maintenance of ICS. So whose responsibility? Management's responsibility. Disclosed all the information with respect to risk assessment. Clear? Disclosed to whom? To the auditor. Clear? Disclose to the auditor their knowledge of fraud or suspected fraud. If they find anything, I have told them, sir, that you have to give it in writing. If you have not found, how can I tell them? Whatever I have found, I have told my CS. Clear? Disclose to the auditor their knowledge of any allegations of fraud or suspected fraud. Disclose to the auditor who? Management. Their knowledge. Whose knowledge? Management's knowledge that, okay, there is some complaint about the fraud, sir, I will go and tell the auditor. Suspected fraud, sir, I will go and tell the auditor. Clear? Yes. Allegations also, if somebody has told, I will go and tell the auditor. Clear? Understood? Any doubts? Any doubts? Any doubts? If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask. Right. Next one. Let's come to the point of communication to management and TCWG. Okay. If you identify the fraud, you have to communicate this matter on a timely basis in order to inform those with primary responsibility for the prevention. And who are these? These are nothing but management or TCWG. So you have to tell them. unless all are involved. If you have identified or suspected any fraud involving management employees, then obviously communicate this matter to TCWG and discuss with them what procedures we can take. This is only if TCWG is not involved. If TCWG is involved, very good. You are telling the thief only about the thief, huh? No. Right? So you should not tell the thief about the thief only. So if that's why the point start unless all of them are involved. If they are not involved in managing the entity, then you can tell them without any hesitation, no issues at all. Absolutely no issues. Clear? Communicate with the TCWG any other matter related to fraud that are in auditor's judgment relevant to their responsibilities. This is like the way how we say etc. Clear? Any other matter which auditor feels he can. Yes, Pooja, you are absolutely bang on. SA 260 talks about communication with TCWG. Clear? Technically, we also have SA 265 where we talk about deficiencies. That also we report. This also we report. Super. Understood? Okay. Now, so stepwise if you see, we'll see at the end, but here we are talking about what once we took WR from management, now we are communicating with management and TCWG about what we have found. Okay. Now comes communicating to one more person called regulatory authority or enforcement authorities. So income tax, SEBI, right, MCA, right, with all RBI, with all these people, these are regulators. So therefore, we need to inform them as well. If you have identified whether there is a responsibility to report the occurrence or suspicion to a party outside the entity. If you have identified or suspected a fraud, determine whether there is a responsibility to report the occurrence outside the entity. Should I tell it to people? Who are these people, sir? Enforcement authorities. Outside the entity is not public. Enforcement authorities I'm talking about. Clear? Although auditor's professional duty is to maintain confidentiality, but the auditor's legal responsibilities may override the duty of confidentiality. Sir, if I say something to you, very simple. If I tell something to you, will you go and tell it to others? Will you go ahead and tell it to others? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Will you go and tell it to others? The answer is no, sir. We will not tell it to others. How sure are you that you will not tell it to others? So, we have studied in professional ethics already that confidentiality is very, 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 very important. Am I right? Confidentiality is very, very important. But you tell me, when there is a situation where I have to choose confidentiality or reporting to the law, what should I do? I have a legal responsibility to report. On the other hand, I have confidentiality. Which one I should choose? Your friend has told you something. Now, you have to choose between keeping silent about it or imagine your upbringing is such that if you find something, you're supposed to go and tell it. Which one will you choose? Deemed to be disclosed with the consent of the entity. It's not deemed to be disclosed. How it is deemed to be disclosed? Deem is assumption. We have to tell because here confidentiality rule will not override. Clear? If RBI says, if you find any fraud, come and tell it to me. And professional ethics says you should have confidentiality. What will you do? And you're doing bank audit. What will you do? Follow the law. Very simple. Follow their instructions. So basically when RBI has told, sir, these are the things that we require, we will follow that. Clear? For example, in case of banks, required to report to RBI. Now I need to report to RBI. I can't say confidential or you will go and file a case on me. No. I purposely muffled that voice, okay? Right? So basically what? If there is a legal responsibility, I need to focus on the legal responsibility. Yes, specific over general, yes. Clear? In some entities, you may have a duty to report misstatements to authorities in those cases where management and TCWG fail to take corrective action. Sir, in some cases, what we'll be doing is, we'll tell them saying, see boss, if you do like this, this is not right, this is fraud, etc. You need to tell them. Even after telling, if they don't change. Now, don't you think that they deserve? They deserve to be reported to the authorities? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, for sure. Clear? In some clients, requirement for reporting fraud, whether or not discovered through the process, may be specific to provision of the audit mandate or related legislation or regulation. Meaning what, sir? Let me highlight. In some clients, requirements for reporting fraud are subject to specific provisions of the mandate or legislation. So in some of the cases, the law only will tell whether you should report or not. Price sensitive information you need not report to public. Clear? But certain things you have to report to me. Right? So that is what point is saying. In some clients, requirement for reporting fraud, right? We are not even bothering about these things. May be subject to specific provisions of the audit mandate or legislation or regulation. So depending on the law, depending on the regulation, depending on the legislation, we will go and report if required. Clear? Finally, documentation. What you should document? Very simple. Documentation is nothing but keeping a record of it. Clear? Whatever decisions you have reached. Clear? Identify and assess ROMM. Documentation of the responses. In that, overall responses and results of procedures, including those designed to address the risk management overhead of control. These are the things you have to document. Communications about fraud made. Conclude that presumption that there is ROMM due to fraud related to revenue recognition is not applicable in the circumstance. Then document the reasons for that conclusion. Meaning what? If you conclude that ROMM is not there due to fraud, document the reason why you are telling it. I need to know the reason. You tell, I'm not against it, but here they are saying, I want you to tell me if it is there as per the law, you tell it, but also document the reason. Why you are considering that there is no risk in this? You can't just say there is no risk. You have to tell why there is no risk. What is the basis of your opinion? Clear? So 5 points you have to document. Number 1, decisions reached. Number 2, ROMM. Number 3, documentation. Number 4, response. Under documentation, we will have response, overall response and specific response. Clear? Document what? Communication about fraud made. Right? Presumption that there is ROMM due to fraud. Clear? These are the 5 things you are supposed to document. Clear? In essay 240, you need to be understanding the entire concept as a whole. What is fraud? What we are supposed to do. Clear? Now we'll have examples left. We will do it after the documentation discussion is done. My question to you, any points if you have any doubts, any points if you have any clarification till here, till documentation, let me know. Let me know. Till documentation, if you have any doubts, let me know. No? If you don't have, please express yourself and tell no. The A in CA stands for accountant and not astrologer, so I am unable to read you. No doubts. No doubts. Clear? Yes. Right. Sivagami, clear? Okay, one doubt is there. Sir, if TCWG is also involved in fraud, then either WD R, you mean WR? Oh, withdraw. Okay, sorry, my bad. Either withdraw or modify opinion. No, sir. If withdrawal is allowed, you withdraw it. Okay, if withdrawal is not allowed, you give modification. Like I told you yesterday or day before yesterday, some law might put restrictions saying, okay, if you have done audit of last 3 quarters, you are not allowed to withdraw for the last quarter. Okay. Now in that case, I can't withdraw, but I can modify my opinion. Opinion is under my control. I can modify my opinion. That is allowed. Clear? Right. Okay. We'll take a break. Okay. Of around 10 minutes. And then we'll discuss the examples and then we'll finish the standard. All right. Cool. Right, guys. Are you back? Shall we begin? Shall we begin? Yes. Right. So let's talk about the examples that I said we'll be doing at the end. We'll be just going through it, okay? It's just situations. And it's not the only part, but we have many things also in practical life that you can face. Okay. Let's talk about fraud risk factors. Now, fraud risk factors, can you please tell me what are the 2 types of frauds we have in financial statements? Generally, fraud is a broad legal concept, but with respect to financial statements, what are the 2 types of fraud we have? FFR, very good. Fraudulent financial reporting, and MA, misappropriation of assets. Clear? Now, that's particularly okay. The question is, for each of it, we'll have something called as fraud risk factor. Okay? So it will look something like this. Frauds. We have 2 things. Number 1, fraudulent FR, financial reporting. One is misappropriation of assets. Now, fraud risk factor. Fraud risk factor. Fraud risk factor will be there for both. Clear? Will be there for both. Which basically indicators, no. So, indicators for FFR, indicators for MA. Okay. Indicators for FFR, indicators for FFR, indicators for MA. And under each of it, we'll have 3 categories. Under each of it, we'll have 3 categories. What is that? Category number 1, incentive or pressure. Clear? Incentive or pressure, number 1. Number 2, we'll be having opportunities. And number 3, we'll be having what? Rationalization of act. Okay, so under each of it, we'll be having 3 scenarios. For each of it, we'll be having 3 scenarios. That is, for fraudulent financial reporting, incentive or pressure will be there. Opportunities also will be there. Rationalization also will be there. Similarly, for MA also we'll be having same incentive, pressure, opportunities, rationalization. Okay, so under each of the headings we'll be seeing different scenarios. So totally 6 topics we'll have to just go through it. Okay, now incentives, why people would commit financial reporting fraud. Okay, why would they commit FFR? What incentive they will get? What are the different indicators of incentives? Right, financial stability of profitability is indicated by what? High degree of competition or market saturation accompanied by declining margins. Meaning what? Sir, in your market, you have a very good competitor. Clear? Class competitor, top-notch competitor. Now to beat him, you need to be also at that level only, no? Yes. Now he is doing ethical practices and he has reached there. For example, now Geo. Ethical practices you do and you are a leader now. Now the question is, if you want to beat Geo and you get to know that, sir, ethically I'm not able to do it, ultimately what I'll do, unethical practices only. Clear? Now there is some student who's scoring 100 out of 100 and you are being compared to him now. And you need to be at that particular level, top notch. What you should do? Sir, I tried studying, sir, it is not entering my head. What will I do? Obviously, I'll end up copying, right? Or chits or some other unethical means to get what I want. Yes or no? Okay. High vulnerability to rapid changes such as technology, obsolescence, and or interest rate. Sir, I am not able to, match with the change speed, sir. The speed at which technology is changing, I am not able to match with it. So I am a little slow. Now to stay in the competition, I'll have to, do something more, right? Decline in customer demand, sir, and increasing business failure, either industry-wise or overall economy. Sir, my customer demand is going low. Now I need to stay in the market. Obviously, I need to do something. Sir, customer demand is going low means what? Either my quality is being down or the price that I'm charging for the goods and services is not reasonable. So if you have to charge less to increase the demand, quality also I should compromise. Yes, I might end up doing wrong things for financial reporting wise, okay? Operating losses are there, right? Making the threat of bankruptcy, foreclosure or hostile takeover. Meaning what, sir? Sir, operating losses means your business is only under loss, right? Pressure, clear, right? Of course, they are told incentives here, right? So to get more profit, you might end up doing things that you are not supposed to do. Requiring negative cash flows from operations or an inability to generate cash flows from operation while reporting earnings and earnings growth, right? Negative cash flows from operation, cash flow statement, operating cash flow, negative. And in that case, I need to bring it to positive so that I'll get some investors, I'll get some loans from bank. And if that is not happening, who will invest in a loss-making company, right? So I need to make profits, and for that matter, I might end up doing unethical channels through that I can go and earn profits or show that I've earned profits. Rapid growth or unusual profitability. Sir, suddenly, if you see a company growing from nowhere, unusual profitability, especially compared to that of other companies in the same industry. Somebody is taking 10 years to get, let's say, for example, 20% net profit margin. You have got it in 1 year only. Unusual, no? Check what they are doing. These are indicators. These are not where it will happen, but these you have to check. If you find these things, sir, rapid changes are happening and company is not able to do it. Clear? Vulnerable to rapid changes, customer demand is declining, sir, operating losses continuously, which is giving a threat of bankruptcy. These are all fraudulent thing. Now, fraud doesn't mean every time will be positive only. Because of fraud, you can suffer loss also, no? Everyone in the competition is getting profits. Why are you getting loss? Something should have been done, no? Right? Something should have been done. So be careful with respect to that. Okay. Then, sir, new accounting statutory or regulatory requirements. You're not able to match with it. Right? For example, GST, Ind AS, clear? So new accounting requirement, new regulatory requirements, SEBI, RBI. So these things when it comes, will we be able to match it, sir? If we are not able to match it, check it out. Why? What are you doing? Clear? Now, one more thing, when new regulatory information comes or requirement comes, not everyone will be expert in that right away. So probably can I, do a wrong thing, show wrong thing and I can escape also. Initial days, no. Yes. So it's like for me a new thing. So let me do a fraud or whatever fraud has been done. It's a very good way of for me to conceal. Right. So consider those reasons as well. Pressure, sir. Profitability pressure. Trend level expectation of investment analysts. Sir, people are telling that this now, for example, classic IPL example you take. Clear? When somebody goes for a big amount, do they have pressure? When somebody is being paid huge amount, do they have pressure to perform? Yes or no? They have pressure to perform? Yes, sir. They have pressure to perform. Now, some people will be thriving on it Some people will not thrive on it. So they have that pressure to maintain that. For that, probably now, for example, imagine you have appointed one particular player as a captain. Now there is an expectation that this fellow will win a particular X number of games. Now in one of the cases, let us say you try to get a wicket through unethical means. What does unethical mean, sir? By doing cheating, you try to get the wicket. Clear? And through that you win the match. Now you won the match, but at what cost? Right? So similarly, it could be, the recent, the viral thing which happened with LSG, right? The Mankading run out. What Ashwin did in once upon a time in Rajasthan Royals. What RCB tried to do with Harshal Patel being a bowler, right? And then obviously he said, no, we don't want this wicket. Rishabh Pant recently told, no, we don't want this wicket, right? So by what means you are winning the match? Are you winning the match through unethical means or ethical means? Clear? Right? The same thing happened with, CSK in 2016-17 when people told that they were winning the matches unethically. Right? Now, if you see many interviews, many articles, many investigation reports are all there. Right? My question is, right, you guys are winning, every team you guys want to win, but at what cost? And that's why I think there is something called as fair play award. You see how ethically you play, and based on that we'll give you an award, which is nothing but a reward for being fair, right? So everyone would have their own way of playing the game. So pressure, if you have that pressure of maintaining the trend, clear, if you have the pressure of earning more and more profits, you might end up doing unethical means, unethical actions. Clear? Right? So from analysts, investors, creditors, external parties, you have pressure. Clear? Including expectation created by management. Imagine in the press release they say, we are going to have a 50% growth next year. We are going to have 200% growth next year. Now, you know that you cannot have now. After announcement, now I have announced it in the press. Correct? Now I need to grow somehow now, to show people that I have grown at 200%. How will I show? Unethical way. Clear? Need to obtain additional debt or equity financing to stay competitive. Sir, I don't have money. I need money. I need investors. So who will give me? Obviously, someone should fund me, no? Now the question is, will they fund me? They will fund me if I have good profits. Right? So for that, I might end up doing fraud. Clear? Next. Marginal ability to meet exchange listing requirements or debt repayment or other debt covenant requirements. Covenant is nothing but clauses. Basically agreement, whatever you are supposed to meet with the agreement, have you met with it? Clear? Right? That is what they are telling. Now, perceived or real adverse effect of reporting poor financial result on significant pending transactions such as business combination or contract awards. Clear? Adverse effect means negative effect. Clear? Perceived means, okay, I am perceiving, I am assuming that this will affect my business combination. I am going for an amalgamation, I am going for a merger, I am going for a demerger, etc. Right? In all those cases, if they see my business is running under loss, so obviously it might have negative effect on it. So I will not do a fraud. I will show that I am done really, really well. Clear? Right? Financial reporting fraud. I am very sure you know the difference between financial reporting fraud and doing the fraud. Clear? Transaction has not happened. I'm just showing it that these things have happened. Okay? Then like this opportunities we have. Nature of industry. Clear? Or the entity operations provides opportunity. Number one, RPT is an opportunity. Related party transaction is an opportunity. Strong financial presence or ability to dominate a certain industry. So you are the leader. Whatever you say only will become the rule there. Na mate na shasanam. Clear? What I say only is my law. Bahubali dialogue. Clear? So Ramya Krishnan holds a dominant position in that particular family. So whatever she says only will become the law. And that is where you can have an opportunity. That's why we want government. Why do we want the power? We want the power so that we can dictate the terms. Clear? Everyone craves for power for the same manner. Clear? Then, sir, wherever judgments or uncertainties are involved, it's an opportunity to commit a fraud because there is no basis for it. assumptions, judgment, there is no basis for it, right? Even though there is basis, it is subjective in nature. It's very difficult to corroborate. What do you mean by corroborate? Prove. It is very difficult to prove what you thought is right, what you thought is wrong. Clear? Although you might say, sir, I am having a very strong gut feeling, sir. Whatever gut feeling you have, it's very difficult to prove it. Clear? Significant, unusual or highly complex transactions, sir, which very difficult to understand. Sir, substance over form questions will come, sir. I am not able to understand the transactions at all. Remember I told you in one of the examples, operating losses were there. So you sold your investment and put it to P&L. Therefore, net profit increase and then purchase that investment again next year. Now, technically, did you do profit from your business? No, but there is profit. There is profit, but you have not done the profit from the business. You have done profit by just selling some investments and then buying it back next year. Clear? So, very difficult transactions to understand why and when do you enter into a complex transaction when you want to do a fraud, so that people will not directly relate to it. Okay. Operations located or conducted across international borders, right, in jurisdictions where differing business environment and cultures exist. So different places, different opportunities will be there to conduct fraud. Okay. Use of intermediaries for which there appears to be no clear business justification. Sir, you don't require an intermediary, you don't require an agent, but you still appoint an agent. Through him you start doing business. So probably when there is no agency needed and you still create an agency, no agency required, but you still create an agency. Now that is where the problem comes. Clear? That is where the problem comes. When it is not required, you are still having it. Why? There is no proper justification. Then, operations in tax haven jurisdictions. Tax haven jurisdictions means what? Where there is no taxation involved. Like for example, previously people used to do things, goods and services selling and all in UAE because there was no tax. Clear? Cayman Islands, there is no tax. You try to divert your business there wherever tax is not there. Through that you do the business, and therefore it's nothing but a fraud. Clear? Attitude. Sir, this has to do with your mindset. Communication, implementation, support or enforcement of the values or ethical standards by management, or the communication of inappropriate values that are not effective. You have entities' values or ethical standards are not effective, sir. You need to put a strong ethical values, right? You should not be very, liberal when it comes to policies. Somebody is doing fraud. Okay, sir, it's okay. Ignore it. No, you should not do it. Clear? You should never ever do it. You should take strict actions on it and try to find out what is the reason behind it. Clear? Because if you leave today, like how your parents for 5 rupees they were giving you a good massage, because today if I don't rectify it, that 5 rupee can become 5,000, can become 5 lakh also. Tomorrow it will be family problem. Similarly, today if I allow you, tomorrow every employee will start doing it and it will be a bigger issue. Then non-financial managements, excessive participation, sir. Sir, management need not participate, but they are participating, that to excessive participation. How much is required? You participate that much, but you are doing more than that for what? Selection of accounting policy, determination, estimates. Clear? Selecting accounting policy or determination of estimates. Estimates, first of all, judgments are involved. You are overly involved in it. Clear? You are overly involved in it, which is not required. Okay. Known history of violation, sir. You have a history of non-compliance. Now you tell me, if you have a history, you're regularly non-compliant. Is this by mistake? Is this by mistake? Regularly non-compliant. Is this by mistake you do it or intentionally? It shows what type of attitude you have. Correct? Yes. It shows an attitude of you doing it intentionally. Clear? Right? Then excessive interest by management in maintaining or increasing the stock price or earnings trend. Sir, I don't care about ethics, sir. My earnings should grow. For that, whatever is required, I'll do it. Clear? Yes. The practice by management of committing to analysts creators aggressive or unrealistic forecast. You are promising someone an unrealistic forecast. What a bad attitude you have. Realistically, you give no. You're telling people that don't worry, you give money, you give 100 rupees. I'll ensure that 1 year you will get 200 rupees. 100x growth in 1 year. Is it based on some evidence or is it randomly? You have to see. Clear? Management failing to remedy known deficiencies in internal control system. See, SA 265 is very relevant here. SA 265 says communicating deficiencies. When they have communicated the deficiencies to you, what is your role in that? You as a management, you are supposed to rectify those deficiencies, but you have not rectified those deficiencies, and knowingly if you are not rectifying those deficiencies shows your attitude. I will not do it, sir. Which means you are letting the fraud happen and that is okay for you, but not okay for me. I need to report that. Interest by management in employing inappropriate means to minimize reported earnings for tax motivated reasons. Sir, you are doing tax evasion. For tax evasion, I need less profit. For less profit, higher expense or lower income. Either ways, I will be handling that with unfair means. Not allowed. Low morale among senior management. Management is, sir, they don't have morale at all, sir. They don't have morals at all. They do everything that is required to maintain the profits better. Clear? The owner manager makes no distinction between personal and business transaction. My shopping bill, P&L. My personal vacation bill, P&L. Travel bill, P&L. No distinction between personal and business expense. Dispute between shareholders in a closely held company or entity. Sir, if shareholders are fighting, see what is wrong there. There could be some attitude issue there. Okay. Recurring attempts by management to justify marginal or inappropriate accounting on the basis of materiality. Now, what is important for you, they might feel it is not important and they may not enter in the books of accounts. Right? They'll say, sir, these things are not important, sir. It's okay, leave it. Clear? No, but it is important. No, sir, it is not important, leave it. It could be a small accounting also. It could be an inappropriate accounting also, not good. Clear? Now, this can be asked as a hidden question if they want. The relationship between management and current or predecessor auditor is strained. What do you mean by strained? What is strained? Between two people, there is some cold war happen, conflict, dispute. Clear? How do I know whether there is a dispute or not? Sir, frequent dispute with the current or predecessor auditor on accounting, auditing or reporting matters. All the time management and auditor have an argument. Now you tell me who is an expert? Who is an expert in auditing, accounting and reporting matters? Obviously, auditors, CAs. Now, he's saying, no, what you're doing is wrong. He's saying, no, what I'm doing is right. So they have frequent disputes every now and then, which shows that there is a dispute, there's a strain between two people. There is tension created between two people. Clear? Unreasonable demands on the auditor, not by the auditor, on the auditor, such as time constraints. Sir, in 3 days finish the audit. What nonsense? Clear? Or issuance of audit report. Within next 4 days issue audit report, sir. Not possible. Restrictions on the auditor to limit access to people. SA 210 comes into the picture here. If you remember SA 210, in fact, I can take SA 505, SA 580, all these will come under this particular category. What is SA 210? Agreeing to the terms of engagement. In agreeing to the terms of engagement, if you remember your CA Inter, your teenage course, in CA Inter, if you have known, in SA 210, they have to give engagement letter. In that, they have to specify their responsibilities. Yes, what is their responsibility? What is their responsibility? Number one, Financial statements is their responsibility. ICS is their responsibility, that you leave. Third point, provide all information, additional information, unrestricted access to people within the entity. That is SA 210. SA 505, I can take external confirmation outside the entity. SA 580, I can take WR from person within the entity or outside the entity. Now for SA 210, people within the entity, I don't need a separate authorization. It's there in the engagement letter only. SA 505, I need management's authorization because it is external parties. I can't directly go and ask. SA 580 WR, again, if it is within the entity, no problem. If it is outside the entity, then I need permission. I can request. Now the question is, when you have already given me unrestricted access, you are limiting my access here now. Not good. Not good. Domineering management behavior and dealing with the auditor, especially involving attempts to influence the scope, clear, of the work or selection or continuance of personnel assigned or consulted on the audit engagement. So you are dominating who should come and audit my particular entity or who should not. Client is telling this. Very good. Very good. You tell me, if the client is deciding which team member you should have in the team, clear, that is personnel assigned, what you should work, will you take it up or should you take it up? No, don't take up. Why? Sir, this is breach of independence. Where is independence of mind? Where is independence of mind? Independence of mind is not there. Therefore, yes, there is a threat to independence. Therefore, not possible, sir. Not at all possible. Is that understood? Clear? Like that only for misappropriation of assets are also there. Clear? Incentives and pressures are there. Opportunity is there. Clear? Attitude is there. Clear? I would like you to go read this and come. Clear? Technically, these are examples. Okay, so these are not given as a main content, but yes, exam wise, you never know, they can ask a question. And I already told you one hidden question here, this particular part, where the relationship between two people are strained and how it is known. There are 4 points through which you can know. Clear? With respect to misappropriation of assets, you do and come. If you have any doubts in that, do ask me. I'll definitely clarify it with proper examples for you. Clear? Yes. Right, sir. Pakka, sir. Understood? Any doubts? Any doubts? Any doubts? Right. Let's see. Let's see some questions on this. Yes. Okay. SA 240. SA 240. Read the question. Read the question. Then I'll give you one thumb rule for how to write answers of SA 240. Okay, which can give you a better, weightage. Right? Your answer might, stand out. I'll give you that particular point. My Decor Limited, presently engaged in manufacturing of fabrics, wants to set up a new plant for manufacturing of special kind of fabric, providing an altogether different texture and feel. This kind of fabric has become a hit with retail customers. The company needs to set up plant for manufacturing the above kind of fabric, involving huge capital outlays to stay competitive in the market. You are auditor of the company and finds that company's revenue has increased to from 2023 to 1000 crore from rupees 750 crore. It is not percentage, it is rupees. Okay, from 1000 crore it has gone to from 750 it has gone to 1000. Okay, by the time you started the audit, there was no change in plant capacity, and information regarding need to set up new plant has become known to you during inquiry of company's personnel. Discuss how you should proceed to deal with above situation as auditor of the company paying special attention to risk of material misstatement due to fraudulent financial reporting. So clearly they have told ROMM due to fraudulent financial reporting, right? So what is the keyword that I need to see here? From 750 it has gone to 1000. Okay, by the time you started the audit there was no change in the plant capacity, right? Information regarding need to set up new plant has become known to you during inquiry of company's personnel. Discuss how you should proceed to deal with the above situation as auditor of the company paying special attention to risk of material misstatement due to fraudulent reporting, right? So what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do here? Answer. Answer. What am I supposed to do? Take your time, read the question and see what you can do. But I want the answer. I want you to think and tell me the answer. Quick. I've given you keywords also. Hmm. Okay. Yes, Paul. Noted. Only Paul, huh? Others. See, one good thing about CA final question is it will make you think and you can give your answers. Okay. How you should deal with this above situation, sir? Very simple. Very simple. What is the concept here? Tell me the concept number. Tell me the concept here. Concept is very simple. Are we talking about MA or FFR? Are we talking about MA or FFR? We are talking about FFR. Now in FFR, we have three things. What are the three reasons why fraud will be done? Three reasons why fraud will be done. There no incentive or pressure, opportunity, rationalization. Which one do you think is suiting better in this particular scenario? Hmm? Yes, incentive or pressure. Correct? Incentive or pressure. So therefore, what we can write is point number one. Point number one. I am just giving you highlights of it. Clear? Point number one. You can write there procedures responsive to ROMM due to or at at assertion level. Now I told you audit procedure starts here. Then I gave a number 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I gave a number 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I asked you. What is the concept number here? Clear? At assertion level, go and see what is the concept number. In today's class, we had numbered it 3. Clear? Now procedures responsive to ROMM at assertion level you put. Clear? Then in that, can you tell me the page number? Right. Yes, these 2 points you write specific reporting, specific response. It's not a general response. Specifically, we are responding to a particular part of it. So design and perform further audit procedures whose NTE, nature, timing and extent are responsive to the assessed RM due to fraud at the assertion level. In doing so, you may change NTE of procedures to obtain evidence that is more reliable and relevant to obtain additional or corroborative information. Clear? Done. Now if you want, so I'll write here page number 10. Now second point what you will be writing is, or second concept what you will be adding is, you will be giving examples. Now what example? I told you it looks like you said incentive or pressure. So from incentive or pressure, from fraud risk factors relating to incentives or pressure. Incentives or pressure for what? For FFR. In that, what point is more suitable? Management meeting the expectations. Clear? Then you can give, they could inflate the sales. Now, plant capacity has not increased. In the question, they have clearly told, no, plant capacity has not increased, but the turnover has increased. How? They need huge capital outlays, right? Which means they need investors, they need money, they need borrowing. It could be in form of investment by someone, or it could be in form of debt. They need money, and for that, they are saying that their turnover increased by 250 crore without changes in plant capacity. Now you have to analyze here, without changing the plant capacity, how turnover can increase? Tell me, how turnover can increase? What are the different ways? That means management is feeling the pressure. Management is under the pressure to meet expectations. Therefore, fake sales is possible. Yes. Sir, check price and demand increase. If not, check with the management. Yes, you can write there. Also, can I say, sir, sales is not fake, sir, but whatever sales are there, we are just inflating it. We're just inflating it. What do you mean by inflate? Increase it. We are not doing any new sale, but whatever existing sale is there, only we are increasing it. Clear? So inflating the sales, right? Correct. Also, sir, we generate invoice first and delivery later. Simply we generate invoice first. Later on, what we can do? We can consider it as sales return. We can cancel the invoice. Clear? Yes. So certain things like this, you can check with non-financial personnel about any changes in their sales agreement, terms and condition of the sales. So many things you can just discuss generally if you know the concept. Are you getting my point? Clear? Yes. You can also even take external confirmation. External confirmation with selected people. How, sir, how suddenly turnover changed without plant capacity? Clear? You can talk. You can get to know detection of fraud, sir, this is. So whatever you feel, okay, can I do this? Just If the concept is matching, just go and write it. Clear? Check the agreements, very good. Clear? Agreements you can check. Delivery terms you can check. No issues at all. Clear? Yes. Right, sir. Check their internal control system for sales. That also you can check. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes or no? Therefore, what's the conclusion, sir? What's the conclusion, sir? Tell me what's the conclusion. Modify what? Audit procedures. I need to modify my audit. Don't say modify the opinion. First you modify the audit procedures. Clear? Now it should include what? If you want, like I said, internal control system you check, test of controls you do. If you want to do analysis, you can do analytical procedure. Clear? If you want, you can also go for test of details to verify the details. Like invoicing, going and checking proper invoicing is done or not. What is the inventory? Has it gone out on that day? So check all these things. You can do it. Understood? Clear? See, that's why I told CA final question is not like a direct question. It gives you a situation and you have to think and answer it. Okay? Next, CA Ridhima. These are called additional procedures. Yes, these are called further audit procedures, obviously. Okay. Now, CA Ridhima, internal auditor of Track Store Limited, has pointed out the following deficiencies in internal control. Receivables are not reconciled at stipulated intervals. Customers are provided a credit limit based on their track record. However, no review of credit limit is undertaken at the required intervals. Same thing. Same thing. Again, fraudulent financial reporting only. The stat auditor of the company finds that no action has been taken by the company on the said deficiencies pointed out in the reports of internal auditor. What does the above situation allude to stat auditors? Just now we saw this. Known deficiency is not rectified. Not rectified. SA 265. In that, stat auditor will tell, but here it is not stat auditor, it is internal auditor who has told. Now, when that fellow only has told you have not rectified it, what does it show? Is it incentive, pressure, opportunity, or attitude? Very good. Attitude. Rationalization. Clear? Yes. So talk about that as to what you are supposed to do. Same at assertion level again. Clear? Audit procedures, remember there are 4 steps. If they're asking about specific transaction, you have to talk about assertion level. If they're talking generally about financial statement, then you have to talk about financial statement level. I hope you're getting it. Clear? Understood? Yes. MN and associates are stat auditors of ABC. I'll write here, this is same as above. MN and associates are stat auditors of ABC Limited for the financial year 21-22. Okay. During the course of audit, the engagement partner notices a misstatement resulting from a suspected fraud. Okay. That brings into the question the team's ability to continue performing the audit. How should the team deal with the situation? Very easy question. What should we do? What should we do? What should we do? Very simple, sir. This is team is not able to continue. Yes, super. Lovely answers. Paul, Pooja, lovely answers. Shivgami also. So see whether withdrawal is possible. If withdrawal is possible, try to withdraw. Even if you withdraw, if there is a responsibility requirement that you have to notify to the people who appointed you or the regulatory authorities, you need to tell. Otherwise, modify the opinion. Clear? Too good. Too good. Getting confidence. Getting confidence. My dear students, yes? Right. Mrs. Honest Limited has entered into transaction on 5th March 2024 near year end, whereby it has agreed to pay 5 lakh per month to Mr. Y as annual retainership fee for engineering consultation. No amount was actually paid, but 60 lakhs are provided in the books of accounts as on March 31st, 2024. Your inquiry elicits a response that need-based consultation was obtained round the year, but there is no documentary or other evidence in receipt of that service. As your auditor of Mrs. Honest, what would be your approach? Clear? What would be your approach? Tell me. What would be your approach? What is the case? Forget about the approach. You tell me what you know about the question now. What do you know about the question? Tell me. Tell me. Tell me. Take EC. Okay. Okay, that's the procedure. Okay. Assertion level procedure I can apply. Super. But that's not the only point in the answer. No, estimate or judgment by management. How is it estimate or judgment by management? It's not estimate or judgment by management. Think. Think. Hint. 31st March. 31st March. Rishabh, it's not a complex transaction. It's not a complex transaction. It's not at all a complex transaction. Tell me. Test up check invoices. Invoices for what? Invoices for what? Test appropriateness of transactions. Okay. Right. Now, all you guys are telling me the procedures. None of you are telling me what is the situation here. What is the situation here? They said, what is your approach? No, what's the situation first of all? You can approach when you know the situation first. Am I right? So, what is the situation first? Can I say, see here, very simple, sir. Very simple. Entered into a transaction, okay, near year end. Keyword, whereby agreed to pay 5 lakh per month annual retainership fee for engineering consultation. No amount was actually paid. Okay, so they entered into a transaction on 5th March, but in the books of accounts of 31st March, they said 60 lakhs has been provided. Unreal transaction. Okay. Context, like what is it related to? Now, can I say this is nothing but management's overriding of control? In that FART was our mnemonic. What is F in that? What is F in that? Fictitious journal entry near year end. Fictitious journal entry near year end. Isn't this matching with that? Isn't this matching with that? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Fictitious journal entry near the year end passed by the management, which means, sir, management is the one who's dictating here, right? Therefore, what is the approach? Clearly indicates fraud, because I did inquiry in my inquiry also. In inquiry also, no evidence was found. Correct, I was supposed to do inquiry, correct, but there was no evidence that I found. What am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do here? Number one, if misstatement is resulting from fraud or suspected error, clear? And this is my exceptional situation where I got to know so many things, right? It questions ability to continue. Questions my ability to continue. Now, with respect to the withdrawal of engagement, you write, correct? You got to know, but you did your inquiry, but there is no documentation available, right? So, which means it is definitely that it is a clear-cut case of management overriding of controls. Clear? So, it is a suspected fraud or it is a misstatement resulting from fraud. It is either a pakka fraud or a suspected fraud. Now, for that, I did my inquiry, but still there was no evidence, which means, should I still be associated or should I withdraw? Should I still be associated or should I withdraw? Sir, if I am associated, definitely I will be under trouble. So I'll think of withdrawing, sir. If withdrawing is possible. Sir, if withdrawing is not possible, then I'll be ending up with reporting. Clear? Now you write the very important point here. Here I'll write a note. Write down there. Always in writing the answers of essay 240 questions. Writing the answers of essay 240 questions. Mention section 143 subsection 12 of Companies Act, or read with rule 13 of Companies Act 2013 and clause 11 of Caro 2020. So any essay 240 question you are solving, your answer should have these things. Any essay 240 question you are solving. Section 143 subsection 12 read with rule 13 of Companies Audit and Auditors Rules. You have to mention. And clause number 11 of Caro 2020 you have to mention. Clear? Yes. Right. That's your question number 4. Question number 5. Same, sir. Enter purchase amount into 1.2 crore on 11th March. No amount was actually paid. Was provided in the books of accounts. Clear? What is your approach for such bogus purchases? Same. Clear? Since here it is directors. Isn't this management overriding of controls? Fictitious journal entry. Clear? Yes. Right. Okay. Then 6th one, fraudulent financial reporting may be accomplished and techniques of committing fraud by management overriding control. What answers you will write here? For 6th question, what answers you will write here? How can we accomplish FFR? 3 ways. Remember the chart. How can we accomplish? Manipulation, falsification, alteration, misrepresentation. Yes, these are the way. Okay. And with respect to our management overriding control, mnemonic. What is the mnemonic? What is the mnemonic for management overriding control? Yes. In that, how many points are repeated? In that, how many points are repeated? Management overriding control, how many points are repeated? F for fictitious journal entry, A for assumptions, right? Then R for what? Records, clear, recognition. So R square, right? Am I right? Yes. Then for what? T is for what? Complex transactions, right? Okay. Seventh one, Mrs. Kumar. Mrs. Kumar and Co. were appointed as stat auditors of PC Limited for the financial year 23-24. During the course of audit, one of the partners has observed that there is misappropriation of assets. Okay, sir. In form of theft of inventory and perpetrated by whom? Employees. CA Kumar is concerned with the existence of certain circumstances for increasing the susceptibility. Clear? Where is it? Now, guide CA Kumar with respect of risk factors relating to misstatements from misappropriation of asset with reference to relevant standards on auditing. Risk factors. Fraud risk factors for misappropriation of assets. Clear? You write those. This was old question, so that's why those things have been asked. Okay. Next, sir. Arihant Limited. Sir, such a big question, sir. Last question. Such a big question. Do it. I want you to do it on your own. What's the question about? I always told you if the question is lengthier and you feel like it is a story, try to find a requirement at the end. What they are trying to ask. What are they trying to ask? Kindly guide with respect to responsibility. Okay, that means there is no specific requirement that they have asked. They have asked an opinion or a way out. Okay. Now, see here. I can see one thing here. The amounts were partially received in the company's account and partially received in personal account. So, is this FFR or MA? Is this FFR or MA? This is MA. How is it FFR? How is this FFR? This is MA. Misappropriation of asset. Money coming into personal bank account. Money is asset, no? Yes. So, cash coming into personal bank account. Therefore, it will come under misappropriation of assets. And they are telling amounts received in the bank account were disclosed as advances received against the future bookings. Clear? In light of the above scenario, kindly guide. So, basically what? See, this has been asked in MTP May 24 also. Okay, that's a new syllabus. First MTP they have asked. For this, there is no straight answer. Clear? You'll have to analyze. You'll have to analyze. Understood? Clear? So, we'll be reading this. Engaged in the business of owning and managing hotels and resorts, selling tourism packages, performing airline bookings, etc. Appointed Upadhyay and Co. stat auditors. While planning the audit, the team decided that the risk of improper revenue recognition from hotel business should not be treated as a fraud risk. Okay. This conclusion was based on assessment of earlier years, wherein no fraud was identified in revenue recorded. Okay. In earlier years, no fraud was identified. Okay. That means there is no history of fraud. While testing the internal financial control over the process of revenue recognition, it was identified that controls are not properly designed to mitigate the risk of fraud and risk of improper revenue recognition. As a result, the team decided to perform additional substantive testing. However, they were still to the conclusion that there is no risk of fraud in revenue recognition. During the course of substantive testing, it was identified that the management did not account for revenue received from corporate hotel bookings amounting to 35 crores. This point is an attitude of risk of factors of FFR. Yes. So can I say it is a merger of both FFR and MA? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can I say both FFR and MA? Because they have not accounted only 35 CR. What do you mean by not accounted 35 CR? Huh? What do you mean by not accounted 35 CR, sir? What do you mean not accounted for 35 CR? Omitting. Omitting. Yes or no? They have omitted a transaction only altogether. Correct? Yes. Which means the means of committing a fraud through financial reporting is by either misapplication or even omission can happen. They have omitted that, so FFR also is there. Apart from that, these amounts are partially received in the company's bank account, which means the amount is received but not reported. FFR. Clear? Plus, it is received where? In the bank account of the CFO. Correct. Good. Sir, now I got confused. Is it FFR or MA? Relating to money asset, it is MA, and relating to entry in the books of account, then it is FFR. Yes, correct. FFR financial reporting. Have you reported this? No. You have not reported 35 CR. So that is also a fraud. Moreover, see, if money had received in the bank account and not reported, only FFR. But money received in personal account, asset misused. Misappropriation of asset. Clear? And fraudulent reporting also has been done. Asset also has been misappropriated. So it's a combination of two frauds. Now we got the clarity. Got it? Yes. If money was received and not reported, only FFR, but money also not received, sir. Reporting also not. Sir, if reporting was done, money was embezzled, only MA. Are you getting my point now? Yes. Money received, not reported, only FFR. Right? Reported, but money not received, only MA. Here both have happened. Money also not received. Reporting also not done. Got it now? Yes, sir. Paka, sir. Sure. Okay. This is your SM question. In your study material also you have this. Okay. Arihant Limited one question is there. Alright. I'll just give you the reference of it so that you can go read it and then see what they're trying to tell. Okay. Question number 14 in SM. Question number 14 in SM. Sir, few pointers. Don't worry, we'll discuss it. They have given a lengthy answer for that. Okay. See here. As per SA 240 responsibilities, I'll just mark it up for you guys. As per SA 240 responsibilities relating to fraud in, it's a document. In audit of financial statements and SA 315, the auditor shall identify and assess ROMM due to fraud at financial statement level and assertion level. When identifying It's based on a presumption that the risk of fraud in revenue recognition, evaluate the type of revenue, revenue transaction, and assertion to give such risk. Introduction they have given. In SA 240 and SA 330, responses, I told you, 330 is about response, clear? Don't be scared, sir. So many essays they have quoted, nothing. Normal only what we discussed. Okay. The presumption that there are risk of fraud in revenue recognition may be rebutted. For example, you may conclude that there is no risk of misstatement due to fraud in the case where there is a single type of simple revenue transaction. Right. However, when there is a complex revenue structure or where there is a lack of control on revenue recognition, there is a high probability of fraud risk in revenue recognition. You simply can write the last sentence. When there is a complex revenue structure, that also don't answer, only last you write. When there is a lack of controls, that point you write. Okay. Obtaining understanding, this one you write. Clear, is a continuous and dynamic process of gathering, updating. In the current scenario, the company was earning from multiple streams. Also, it was identified that the controls were not properly designed. Okay. During the year, it was identified that the management did not account for revenue from corporate hotel bookings amounting to 43 crores. But I think in the question we have 35 crores. 35 crores, not is, yeah, 35 crores. Clear? These amounts were partially received in the company's bank account and partially received in CFO's personal account. The amount received in the bank account of the company were disclosed as advances received against future bookings. This also is wrong. Clear? Therefore, while performing RAP, you should consider the complexity, nature of revenue and the fraud risk. Also, there were no adequate controls. Moreover, the team should have recognized the fraud risk by identifying deficiencies in internal control over the revenue recognition and should have treated the risk of improper as a significant risk. As per section 143.12, it is required to report all the fraud identified during the course of audit involving amounts more than or 1 crore within the prescribed time limit. Sir, is this a company related question? That's why 143 has come. Clear? Since it is a company related question, 143 has come. Otherwise, it will not come. Be careful. Use your common sense. Sir, you told write a note. I am also writing. If it is a company related question, write 143.12. If it's not a company related question, do not write 143.12. Also, do not write car also. Clear? Understood? Yes, sir. See what they have told. SA 200, SA 210, SA 230 is covered in intermediate. ICA final study material, this is covered in intermediate level. Application is at final level. Moral of the story, you don't study these standards properly at intermediate level. Clear? Here they will not discuss it. Here they will not discuss it. That's why it is discussed there. Clear? Got it now? Students, got it? Pooja, you asked for a few pointers, take the entire paragraph, sir. Okay? My point is, please go and read the essay when you're free. This particular answer. Sir, in enter essay 240 is removed. 210 is there, no? 200, 210, 230 is there. 240 is removed. That's why 240 we are discussing in detail here. If 240 was discussed in detail there, here it would not be discussed in detail. Okay? Yes, sir. This is with respect to essay 240 questions. Please do it. And with that, essay 240 comes to an end. Clear? Right. So let's stop the class here and let's continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we should be able, day after tomorrow we should be able to finish this chapter. That's the target. Right? Cool. Thank you so much and have a great day.